All right, we ready. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy vexyz, the lurking legend. Y'all can just call me Vex. I am super excited. First, I want to go ahead and say thank you to all of you who showed up early. I see we got like 10 in the chat already watching. Look at all these goats. I'm absolutely hype right now to get things rocking. Give me just a second. I just realized I had done messed up on something, but we got a wonderful stream for you. I'm just gonna let a couple more people get into the chat. My audio is they can't hear you right now. Hold on, I've done goofed. Let's see. Sorry guys, it wouldn't be a Vex stream if it wasn't a little bit scuffed. All right, give me a sound check, brother Deck.
Yo.
1
2 1 2.
What's good? All right, they can absolutely hear you now. Fire. So yeah, we have a wonderful stream planned for you. You can tell by the title. It's what if this absolute legend of an icon in the community, one of my biggest inspirations, a close friend of mine, what if Dak Sake was a One Piece character? Tell the folks how you're doing today, brother.
Oh man, I'm doing great. I'm super excited to be here, Vex. I know we've been planning this for a long time. I know you've been doing the D&D stuff for a long time. I just got familiar myself with it because of Baldur's Gate for like pretty much the first time. So, which I know is like a little bit different, but you know the connection.
Yeah.
So
you have a little bit of
excited.
Familiarity. Yeah, this is gonna be like acoustic Baldur's Gate or something like that, you know.
Yeah, I like that. And I gotta say, like I said before, everyone could hear me. Fire setup, by the way. I didn't know you were going to use the bounty poster as like the window for my camera. That's pretty fire, my man. It's looking good. I'm pumped to be here for the first stream.
Appreciate it, brother. Yeah, this is my first like major collab on my channel, and I had to bring on my first YouTube subscriber ever. Like,
that's true. And by the way, chat, the goal for today, because I see Vex is at 90 right now, we got to get him to 100 by the end of the stream. All right, at least 100. All right, I know there's at least 10 people in here that can click the sub button, at least by the end of it. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate that. Yeah. That's there's also another goal that has something to do with the number 100. Actually, if you guys check in the description, do it now, do it after the stream, do it whenever you like, but there's a link for a brand new Discord, vexyz Lurking Legends, that I put together. It is now officially going live. It's the first public invite that anyone has access to, and the first 100 individuals to get down in that description, click that link, will have an exclusive VIP role, and they'll be able to access different parts of the Discord server that other people later on that join will not. So make sure you jump in, say what's up, say it's just going to be like my little community spot, and I put a lot of work into it, and it's just a cool little place. And now that I'm taking my content grind like really seriously, that's where you'll be able to find me. You'll also be able to find me on TLA's Discord. That's also linked in the description. Dak's Discord, that's also linked in the description. Check out all the good stuff there. Lots of wonderful content there for y'all to click on. But don't click off the stream too soon, because we have a great one here for you today. Dak, I had you do a little bit of homework. I had you figure out, like if you were born or isekai'd or whatever into the world of One Piece, what kind of character you would be. And I'm gonna go ahead and live on stream with you while we're vibing with the chat, all these goats. We are going to build a One Piece 5e D&D like character. So I hope you're pretty excited. I didn't know you actually played Baldur's Gate, so I thought you had like zero experience like with this, but so that actually helps out a whole lot.
Recent. Very recent. You know, I haven't beaten it yet or anything, but I have played it enough to know how it works and why it won awards at least.
The chat is thinking they're placing bets on if you're going to be a fish man or a mole or something like that. I'm sorry.
I'll say this: if you really think about it, the answer should be obvious. That one. That's all I'll say.
Oh, he's gonna be a living afro that was given a devil fruit. No, but real quick, yeah, like we're still letting some individuals get in here. I see we got 12 in the chat. Love you guys so much. Thank you so much. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Make sure you check all the links in the description. Make sure you're supporting DAC and Redacted as well. But yeah, we have multi-classic's totally allowed, Marth. But the thing is if we do finish up, we also might be talking about maybe some chapter 1110, predictions or something like that, depending on how long you're wanting to go. I know our boys OPU, they're not planning on doing a stream this week, so I wanted to wrap it up before then. But yeah, so for however long I got you, Dak, I'm down to let it ride. I did also want to make sure I shouted out to the rest of the TLA groups that I have, like my group, Scarlet Pirates, group 2 solos. We do every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. CST. They just wrapped up an arc, the Glass House arc, which we've been like just climbing through for months, knocking out bounty hunters and taking out big bads, and they just fought the big boss and survived, climbing their way out of the crumbling layer, and it's really cool. So this is a great time to catch up. We're about to do an SBS. We kind of try to match them up for when Oda drops SBSs, so we're about to be doing that. So it's a great time to binge that. Link in the description. If y'all want to make sure you stay up to date on all of that, and I'm trying to up the quality on that as well. And so this is like the first major collab stream on my channel, and I'm trying to make sure that I put a lot of time and attention and detail into the Scarlet Pirate streams as well. So big things coming for this channel. Major appreciation for all of the people in the chat. You guys are so goated. But that's
why everyone needs to subscribe right there. I mean, I've been saying it in my own streams, y'all, no one's ready for Vex to hit the scene.
You're too kind, brother. But yeah, and if you wanted to know any of the materials that I'll be using today to help build Dak's character, again, links for like all that stuff in the description. I'm going to be using the expanded OP5e rules that are linked in the description, just because it's the other one's a PDF, and that's like not as good to copy and paste onto a character sheet. There's like a bunch of line breaks and stuff like that. So I'm just be using the one that's like that's on the browser. But let me go ahead and take us over to your character sheet. Is this your very first character sheet for traditional D&D?
Yeah, I didn't even, I mean, it makes sense that these things exist, but I didn't know they did until you said the term.
Yeah. So this is what it kind of looks like when you get on the Roll20 and you set up an account. You don't have to worry about it. I can share my screen in the Discord for you so you can see it in real time. Give me just a second.
Okay, that would help.
Of course. Okay, guys,
if you can't, it's not that big of a problem. But
yeah, it's not that bad. I'll go ahead and just make sure I'm reading things out loud for you. I know you got the YouTube open. You're pretty good about working the chat. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and the first thing that we want to make sure, and I don't know if you have a name figured out for your character, we can do that, at the end and stuff like that. But typically, the first thing you want to do is roll stats. And so, what we can do is, if you open up the VC text chat, you should be able to type in ! roll stats, no spaces, no caps, all one word.
And it says messages failed to load. Does that maybe?
Sorry, it's a brand new server. You can try doing it in any of the public channels, and I'll be able to find that.
Well, here, sorry. Tell me what I'll just try it in here anyway. What'd you say it was?
Exclamation point, roll stats, no caps, no spaces, all one word.
I'm just gonna try it and see what happens. I can't see. It doesn't load whenever I hit enter. That's very strange.
No, it's not letting it. I'll have to fix the perms on the VIP lounge and the stream stuff. I'll look at that in a bit. But if you just want to go to like the general, and I see some people piling in right now, they'll be able to see it in real time as well. But let me pull that up.
The open general one, like where I put that auger sticker recently.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that one. Let me open that up, and then yeah. So I see you typing right now. We'll be able to use these stats to kind of figure out what how good your character is going to be at things.
Cool. Exclamation point roll stats.
Yes, sir.
All one word.
Yes, sir. No caps.
Oh, there we go.
Wow. Oh, that is actually kind of trash. Go ahead and redo that.
All right, well, only one reroll. Only one. That was a practice run. Only one though, because part of the cards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, as a game master, I typically have a rule. If you roll below 72 as your point total, I let you re-roll. Okay. He rolled a 67, guys. Get in the Discord.
That one's even worse. Sorry, hold on. That was another.
I have never seen a roll that low before. That's actually crazy.
Okay, well, we're just gonna keep going until I get above 72 because these are even worse than the initial ones. So
yeah, this is going great.
Here we go. We're good. I'm not no changing it. No changing
84 is cracked. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that screenshotted on my phone in case people come piling in a general. Awesome. That's actually really great stats. 84 is really great because with there's a thing called standard array. So you can instead you could do point buy and you could do standard array, or you can leave it up to the dice. And with standard array, you're able to get a guaranteed 72 no matter what. Oh, okay. So I don't like I don't like my players like feeling gypped just because they wanted to gamble. So that's like a little bit of a safety net I as a DM implement. So we got some really great stats for you here, and you've played a little bit of D&D, so you kind of know what these stats all entail, but it really depends on what kind of build you're going for. The next major thing we're going to want to focus on as far as building your character is we will start with the lineage of your character. And so have you thought about if you're going to be like just to go through some of the options, you could be like a tontara or a giant or a fish man, any of the races that we've seen in One Piece. You could be a celestial dragon if you want, No, I'm sorry. But what lineage were you thinking about for your character that we're building today?
So I was, I'll say this, some of the honorable mentions. So the chat, I would say I feel like I've seen Fishman from a few people, which is a good guess because I feel like in One Piece with the ocean, I mean, just being a fishman is if you do get a devil fruit, then you can breathe in the water. So that would have been a good one, but I'm not going with that. The next one I was thinking, I know it seems random, is the long leg tribe. It's just
let's go.
I don't know. It's just I don't even know why. I just think it'd be funny. It's just like being that tall and like just I don't know. It's just it would be cool because everyone's super tall in One Piece, right?
Well, you're a big basketball fan, and that'd give you a big leg up. No pun intended, right?
Yep. Everyone in One Piece is like 10 feet plus tall, and so I would also want to be that tall. I would not want to feel short. So that was the other thing I was thinking, and they're also just like underrepresented, I feel like. But I think the answer, and like I said, it's kind of obvious if you thought about it, because like once I did a little bit of research, I realized it definitely going to be a mole mink, right? Because the minks are mammals, and moles are mammals, so there can be a mole mink. So definitely that 100%. Like being able to dig, that would all. I mean, I wouldn't even really need a ship because I could just dig under the ocean. You know what I'm saying? To get to where I'm going. So definitely mole mink. Like not even just for the memes, it's like actually useful.
I'm just gonna go ahead and change your name here on this to the boss of the earth preemptively, but go for it. I honestly didn't even really think about the name because I was just like, it's gonna be my name, but like Dirt Boss, you can just make it that. Oh yeah, Dirt Boss. That's actually fire. Let me do that real quick. No, but yeah, I figured that was one of the first things I thought about whenever I was like, okay, so Dak he's absolutely gonna have an afro, and there's like a 90% chance that he's gonna be a mole mink. So I'm glad our heads are kind of in the right space. That's hilarious.
And I also want to say, just because you brought up the boss of the earth, and I know I don't want to get super off track in any theory talk, but it's just something cool because of the last chapter. You know how we started a new cover story.
Oh yeah.
And the cover story is right above where Pluton is, you know. And whenever I first ever did the Pluton theory, I talked about how Gadatsu fell from a sky island and then found the dirt boss that we're talking about. Well, you know, Kaido is the only other guy who fell from a sky island and survived that we know of, and also like at least fell and like hit the ground. And then also you know, he also may have fallen from the top of Wano to the bottom, you know, down where Pluton is potentially if he is like in the water. So like, I don't know. All I'm saying is we might be finding a mole soon. That's all.
You're absolutely potentially correct, and I'm here for it. Like the Pluton is a mole theory was one of the absolute first theories that I was like 100% behind, and I loved it as soon as I started to like really get into the community. I've been you know, following One Piece for, oh man, like not as long as like I know a lot of the rest of the community has, and so it's been interesting to, I'm so sorry, my computer is like crashing right now. It's been interesting to like see how theory crafting has evolved, and in my opinion, like the Pluton is a mole in the Lafro Tail video and a few of Parvision's stuff as well has been just like quintessential as far as like establishing the meta of like what a theory video is in today's like day and age. So like it was quite literally groundbreaking whenever I first watched it.
That's funny. I don't know if you meant to do that pun, like groundbreaking, you know, it's Pluton underground. But no, man, that means a lot. It's definitely held up, you know, or gotten even stronger over time. So
I'm a firm believer. There's theories that I think are fun, and there's theories that I actually believe, and that is both of those things. So major kudos, yeah.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. You know, so some of the theories are like tougher to believe than others, but those the evidence is just there. You know, it's like until I would find it hard to believe there's like a more believable one until we actually see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. So on this, I did not make this. Again, full disclaimer. This is this document that I'm sharing on my screen now for the stream. This is a very, very well put together, very regularly maintained document that tries to keep up to date. As soon as Lunarians were, you know, revealed as a thing and whatnot, they had Lunarians on here. And like, I'm sure as soon as we figure out more about Buccaneers and stuff, they'll put that on if they haven't already. But this is a supplement that I use. It's called One Piece 5e. Originally, it was made by this guy Silvers, and I found it on Reddit. And then there's like this is like a expanded built by the fans kind of homebrew collection here, and I like it because I could just click on any of these things in here and it'll take me straight to there. So I can just go ahead and click on Mink, and this gives you like a pretty cool picture of Carrot, and then like you know, shout out to Mr. Bushido if he's in the chat. But we've also got just a little descriptor here, and we get to where it says traits, and this is what I'm going to actually start copying, pasting, and putting on your character sheet. And so first of all, you're going to get a little bit of an ability score increase, which is just typical of every like starting character at level 1, regardless of your lineage. It shows you what their life expectancy is, their typical alignments, like if they're chaotic or if they're neutral or evil or something like that, which is a system that's a little bit outdated in D&D, but they still want to keep beating that dead horse. I don't know why. But their typical sizes and speeds, and speed is going to be actually the first thing that I do go and add on to your character sheet, which is 35 feet, which is actually a little bit faster than your average.
We like that.
Yeah, so let me get this figured out. Man,
I didn't even think about the potential of a Sulong mole mink. That might just be what Pluton is.
It's just Sulong all the time.
Yeah, it's just in perpetual Sulong form as a giant mole mink. Like maybe it was given the perpetual youth surgery also.
That would be.
So it's just
actually like. So with your speed, it's right here at the very top, and I'm just going to go ahead and enter in 35 feet of movement speed. And I'm trying to make sure my sources are all good. That is jank, and I'll fix it in a second.
No worries.
There we go. But yeah, so then we will go ahead and look at the rest of the traits that you have here as a mink.
Oh, hey, also, by the way, 3Day just said you're 3 subs away from 100. Y'all, all I'm saying is if you haven't subbed yet, one of you guys could be the 100th sub at this point. We're getting there.
Guys, we really appreciate that. Like, again, thank you so much. This one is a work in progress. We're getting it all figured out, trying to make sure that I'm figuring out like how to do what I want to do here. And again, it's a little bit scuffed, but we're getting it done one way or another. There we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave it on this screen, and then I'll worry about the character sheet and toggling back to that in between when we get the lineage done, and then we'll move on to the next step. So you do have...
I see there like natural weapons, you know, like if I'm an animal, like I see that, so I get the mole powers. That's dope.
Oh yeah, and then like there's also dark vision, which for you I'm actually gonna go ahead and say, because you're a mole, it would be a step above that, and that would be what we call blind sight, and blind sight, or even tremor sense, which is like a really cool ability. If you've seen like Avatar: The Last Airbender, like book 2, like Toph, like you're able to just kind of like feel the vibrations of the earth underneath you and stuff like that. Which is super cool.
I should have that, but I shouldn't be able to see very well normally. You know what I mean? Like,
I would agree.
Because moles can't see that well typically, but they can see well in the dark. Like all the stuff you just said they can do, except normal, like out in the daytime. They're not very good.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get tremor sense added on to your sheet, and that is something that I think it's kind of a given as you being a mole mink, and then we'll go ahead and also grab natural weapons. And yeah, I'm assuming it would be like claws, like so you would be being able to do like some slashing damage, which is pretty cool. Because typically you're only available to do bludgeoning damage with your unarmed strikes. This is a way of you getting a little bit more versatility, and there are things that, you know, like you could see like with Luffy. Bludgeoning damage is ineffective, but with you being able to slash, that's a whole different, you know, ball game. So
by the way, Vex, congrats on 100 subs. Major shout out to the chat for doing the legwork.
Chat, y'all are goats.
We already hit 100.
Chat, y'all are goats. We are what, like not even 30 not even 30 minutes into the stream and you guys hit that. That's amazing. Again, make sure you jump into the Discord. You're wanting to see some more of this content and talk about One Piece, talk about D&D, talk about One Piece D&D, also a bunch of like trading card games. I know, Dak, you've been wanting to get back into the TCG streams, like the pack opening, but it's been crazy lately. Everybody's getting into this.
I mean, you would know. I mean, like, dude, it's like 3 times the price it's supposed to be. Although the English printers, I forget exactly like the terminology they use, but they were gonna release a set that basically like, it's like all the popular cards of the last few sets they're gonna put in a separate set and release in English, because like to be able to print enough of each set to get caught up would be like too hard. So they're like, let's just put the staples of those sets, like the best ones, in a different thing and just get caught up that way. So there are going to be more English cards soon, but it's going to be like a unique thing is what I heard. And so I don't know how that's going to go down. So I might be buying some Japanese sets just, you know, to get all the cards. But
hey, I'm sure, I know me as a fan, I would be psyched to get whatever from the pack opening streams. And like yeah, I know that like I've talked with a mutual of ours, JB, you know, Joy Boy Theories. Definitely go check out his YouTube, and he's gonna be featured in one of these, you know, once we can get some time in another break week and whatnot. So make, again, another reason to subscribe if you're a big fan of Joy Boy Theories. He is yeah, he's a really great guy, and I've talked with him in great detail about the like TCGs in general and the OP TCG. And if you guys want to get my thoughts on that and you know, stay up to date on what's going on in the One Piece TCG, I've got a great spot in my Discord for that. Make sure you go grab the rules. But we've got Dark Vision, but I also added Tremor Sense into the equation. We've got your natural weapons, and then there's this cool thing, Inner Beast, which is basically them mechanically capturing the essence of Sulong, which is just a really fantastic ability that you're able to tap into, but it's a resource. You're only able to do this, obviously when the moon is out,
Right.
which you'd be surprised. Not a lot of individuals that run D&D games keep track of the moon phases, but this is a reason for us, game masters to step up our game a little bit and make sure that we're on top of that. I've ran a game for a couple different mink characters, and it actually adds like a lot of flavor and stuff like that. I like keeping track of the time in my campaigns so that I can like make sure that I put out the newspapers. Like, it's so fun to be able to write like world economic newspapers and pretend like for a bit like that I'm Big News Morgans, and like I could do like real-time bounty updates and stuff like that. So there's a lot of fun in One Piece D&D. I love it, dude. It combines two of my absolute favorite things.
Also, Brandon King, you asked a very good question. How do I use Electro, like with my Electro claws? Because also, like, I guess moles, I probably am not going to be physically fighting too often. Or I mean, I would be, but, utility is more so the reason I picked that, I guess I'm thinking. Yeah, I guess my claws are electric. I guess is how that's going to work. Because I don't really have, like, arms. You know what I mean? Like, they're just, like, sort of, like, right in front of my body.
I think it's a really interesting question, but like, I mean, I know like in One Piece, the typical way that they talk about Electro is it's the friction from your fur. Moles still have fur, and you're probably, crawling around through a bunch of like, maybe like magnetically charged rocks and stuff like that. That could like, so I mean, in the Grand Line, especially, all of the islands have their own magnetic like charge. So that's how
and Pluton is down probably where the poneglyphs were made, and so I'm just wondering if like like I guess Pluton's rubbing up on Sea Stone the whole time, so maybe it'll even be like a special Electro or some nonsense, because there's like
hockey imbued or like Sea Stone Electro or so. That is crazy. I've never even thought about that.
Pyrobloin infused, I don't know.
That's one of my favorite reasons why like talking about One Piece D&D is so fun, because it's like I'm theory crafting everything. You know what I mean? Like that's just such a cool concept that you just came up with, and I knew I would have fun on this stream, because you're gonna just have like a crazy idea that I've never even thought of, and I think about this stuff all the time, dude. Like
this is like a totally new lens in which to think about it. Like usually it's very like theory analysis based, but now it's like the application's so new, so I like this a lot.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Shout out to Mr. Bushido who showed up. He heard the carrot signal. It's like the bat signal or something. Like he saw it up in the sky.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, they actually reflect the carrot symbol off the moon. Also,
yeah, it helps everybody go Sulong even if it's not a full moon, right? Like
exactly.
Speaking of a full moon, and this is a sub race. Although Wizards of the Coast, who make D&D, they're trying to work their way away from the word race and go towards lineage, which is actually like super cool, because in One Piece they say the lineage factor. That's like what Judge and Vegapunk discovered, which is like what they call D&D in the world of One Piece. So. But your sub lineage here would be either a diurnal or nocturnal. And there's different benefits that you get. Yeah, I figured you'd go for that. But there's different benefits nocturnal. You get from being a day bound or night bound, as far as these different like sub lineages.
Oh, I see it. Athletics, history, medicine, nature, persuasion.
So yeah, you're going to be able to choose 2 of the following skills of your choice. And so acrobatics, athletics, perception, stealth, and survival would be the nocturnal ones. Acrobatics is like, dexterity based, whereas athletics is like strength based. So if you're going to be like more of a strength build, you might want to lean in towards that, or you'd want to cover your weakness. If you're not going to be focused on dex, gaining proficiency in it would help you like cover a gap that you might have. So it's really your call. You get to choose any 2 of these. If you have any questions about what these abilities are kind of typically used for, you can let me know. But you play Baldur's Gate. It's a little bit self-explanatory to some degrees, but there's like some niche cases that you never know. I think as a mole though, perception is something that you might not have. But
right.
As an individual who is legally blind themselves, I could tell you perception is something that I have not much of.
Well, like I'm looking at my stats, and like don't I have like really high strength? Isn't that my highest? Well, I guess stats.
You get to actually allocate the stats, which we're gonna do here in just a second. But that's more of something.
That was in order.
Oh no! You get to choose. So it's not. Yeah, you get to choose if you want that 18 to go into your strength or your wisdom or your charisma, and we're gonna do that in just a second. We're just starting.
Factor.
Yeah, so you kind of want to think about maybe down the line, and we'll get there as far as what it'll be. But have in the back of your mind, what's your fighting style gonna be? What's your typical, like? Are you gonna be a frontliner? Are you gonna be like an Usopp, like a marksman? Are you gonna be doing, what kind of strategies are you going to be trying to implement as like somebody who is trying to survive in the world of One Piece, which is significantly difficult depending on your area?
I think I have the answer. We're gonna go nocturnal, and you said I get to pick two, right? Yeah, that's what it says.
Yes, sir.
Perception and stealth are the two
Perception
I'm gonna go for.
And stealth, not bad. So you're trying
because I'm just thinking, I gotta use the fact I can dig in the ground. You know what I mean? Like I gotta be able to sneak up on people. That's gotta be my MO. So I want to be able to perceive the fact that they're there, which I guess I have the tremor sense, which it's still probably relevant.
Yeah,
but
so
then
that
the stealth
definitely
part,
helps.
I don't want to get caught.
Gotcha. So that is a good choices, and so you're gonna be able to get. Next is gonna be Shandy, and so I'm gonna scroll back up to the table of contents, and we'll be able to. You can kind of see as I scroll very quickly past this. There's different types of humans. There's if you were a long leg. There's your boy Blue Gilly or whatever, and then Idea.
Isn't he like the only one that we have that we know for sure?
I think isn't Scratchman? No, he's long arm, isn't he?
He's long arm. Oh, Baron Tamago is one.
Is he?
He's on the front page. Yeah, he is.
That's crazy. I remember him as Count Niwatori. Sorry, but
it's Tamago, Blue Gilly, and then a guy that we don't have the name of. There's 3 people who are confirmed full long legs, but then there's also 3 half long legs. Smoothie, then Charlotte Citron and Charlotte Cinnamon are all half human, half long leg. That's interesting.
I'm just gonna be completely honest. Like, I don't know who let Big Mom name all our kids all these things, but I love it. As somebody who's like, I'm a foodie, and like I took French in high school, and like it's just so funny to me that it's so funny, because I was like, I never thought this information would be useful. And then I was talking with One Piece individuals, and they're like, yeah, Charlotte Galette, and I'm like, it's actually funny. Did you know that means? And like it's just so funny to me. I never thought that information would be useful. So I'm gonna go ahead and toggle it back over to your character sheet now. Here we go, and we're going to do a little bit of what we were just talking about in allocating your stats. Now that you kind of know a little bit better about what you're gonna be kind of doing. You see, I've added Tremor Sense, Natural Weapons, Inner Beast, Electro, and I can max over those attacks here in a bit, but it's not super important. But we are going to kind of be figuring out what's going on this whole left side over here. There's a bunch of 10s and 0s. So strength is obviously going to be like how strong you are. It also comes into play when it comes to your carrying capacity, how much you can lift, your athletics, so like grappling individuals, your dragging and pulling of large objects. So if you want to just be able to like lift up boulders and stuff like that, might be useful as a mink. This is kind of the go-to stat for that. Dexterity is going to be more about how agile, how quick you are on your feet, even though dexterity in Latin only refers to your hands. Gary Gygax, when he first made D&D, used this as just the all-around agility and like reflexive kind of stat. Constitution is like if you're able to withstand poisons, alcohol, freezing, frigid colds, suffocation, and things like that. And it's also is directly tied to your HP, your like how much HP you have.
They in RuneScape they used to call hit points Constitution, and so that's how I know that's what it means. I
knew there'd be some carryover between RuneScape and D&D. I'm not super big into RuneScape, but thank you for letting me know that. I'll have that in my pocket forever.
Well, and they did change it back, to be honest. Players didn't like it, but yeah.
There's also something to be noted. Dexterity is widely regarded as the best stat in D&D because it also goes into your armor class, which is going to be like how tough you are, as far as like if people are trying to hit you, they're gonna have to roll a d20, and the result of that plus their hit bonus is going to have to meet or exceed your armor class in order for them to actually deal damage to you.
Got it.
So when you make an attack in D&D, you know, you roll to hit, and then if you hit, you roll damage. You don't just be like, I hit them. You have to like see if you hit them first, and then there's a chance for like a nat 20, which would be like a critical roll. Okay. So armor class is dictated typically by your dexterity, and dexterity is also something that helps with more skills. Because if you look at this list of skills, I'm scrolling down, so the stream will see it in just a second. There are several of these that are dexterity based in the parentheses here along the side, like acrobatics, stealth, sleight of hand, and things like that. Well, there's only one of these skills that has anything to do with strength, which is just athletics. So there is an argument that dexterity is just kind of on average a lot more powerful than strength. And you can also use your strength modifier to add to your attacks if they are strength based, which almost every single weapon is. But if it's a finesse weapon, you can choose to use your dexterity instead of your strength. So almost everything that strength does, dexterity does as well. But for flavor, there are like barbarians and things like that love like going heavy into strength. Paladins, it's really good to have like a strength build and stuff like that. Okay. But a lot of people do argue, especially when they're doing optimized character building and things like that and min-maxing, that dexterity is the best stat in the game. So that's something to be considered, but you can really kind of allocate however you're liking. Intelligence is going to be what's so there's a certain number of skills here that are tied to intelligence as well. And then like this also comes into play as like if someone is going to try to like impede into your mind and you have to make like an intelligence saving throw. Yep. However good you are at intelligence kind of is important for your survivability. Wisdom is similar, but it's like kind of like book smarts versus street smarts is the typical argument people use when defining these two stats. And then there's charisma, which, you know, it's the Riz. That's just like how persuasive, deceptive, and, you know, those intimidating, even like how good are you with your words? A lot of people just equate it to like how hot you are. That's not necessarily, I kind of hate that, but so that's kind of the basic rundown of, and so we're going to allocate now your 6 stats here based off of what you rolled, which an 84 is actually really great starting total. I'm not even going to lie. So we'll start with the higher stats and work our way down to that 9. But you have 2 18s to distribute. And based off of kind of what we just went over, where are you thinking you're wanting your character to be the strongest on average?
So just to make sure I understand, so these 6 numbers I just rolled, the 2 18, 16, 12, 11, and 9, I got to pick those numbers specifically in the 6 slots there, like...
Correct.
Like it's not like 84. Like I don't just split up the 84. It's specifically those 6 digits.
Correct. Exactly. Okay. So we're starting with the 2 18s because it's the highest, and that's kind of the easiest. You want to know where you're strongest at. So you could pick to put one of your 18s in strength and the other in dex, or one in charisma and one in strength, or however you want to allocate them. These are going to be the things that you are typically the absolute best at.
Okay, and then. Just make sure I fully understand. Well, then once I pick those numbers, then like let's just say theoretically I put like 18 in dexterity. Then how does it connect to the numbers underneath? Like, do I split those 18 among dexterity related things later? Or?
No. So what it will do, and I'll just hypothetically do it real quick, is I'll change this 10 to an 18. Oh wow, that's not. Ignore that, chat. But so if you were to have an 18 in dexterity, what that means is you have a +4 modifier for your dexterity rolls. And so if you were to make a dexterity saving throw, you would have a +4 on that automatically. If you were to
Why is it +4 when it's 18? Like, what's the equation?
So it's a D20 system. And so it's they kind of divide everything by the percentage. So if you roll a D20, it's a 5% chance you get a 20, a 5% chance you get a 1. And so they kind of equate it to it's just something they've been doing ever since they adopted like a D20 system back in like 1st edition and AD&D days. If you were to have hypothetically like an 8 So the base is at a 10, you have a 0 modifier. If you go below a 10, you start to have a negative modifier. And if you go above a 10, you start to have a positive modifier. So if you were to have an 8, you would have a -1 as your modifier, which would take away from your dice rolls. Whereas if you were to have like a 12, it would add to your modifier and you would have a +1, which would mean that you're better at that thing. So typically commoners have 10s or 8s in every stat. But you know, being an adventurer in a D&D campaign, you're built different, you're cracked, and you're able to do all these things like superhuman feats and stuff like that. So that's why these modifiers are super important. And the modifier directly affects like your dexterity saving throw. It feeds off of your dexterity modifier, and all of these dexterity based skills like acrobatics, sleight of hand, stealth, and things like that, they also feed off of your dexterity modifier. You chose to be proficient in stealth, which means that not only do you add your dexterity modifier, you also add your baked in proficiency bonus. So you can notice how you have a 3 in stealth. That's how much, if you roll a d20 and you get like a 16, you get, that's your dice result, but then you add your modifiers to that. So that would actually be a 19.
Okay.
And so this just helps you crawl away from getting like really bad results more on average. So if you have like a +10 modifier onto something, you will never roll below average on it unless you get a crit fail, because the lowest you can roll with on a 1d20 is a 1. And if you're adding 10, your modifier to that, the lowest roll you could ever get is an 11 result. So you're always above average if you have a really big modifier. And that's what goes into defining those modifiers, is your stat points as well as your proficiency, if you're proficient in that thing.
I feel a little bit like I think I understood it. Then as you kept going, I think I started feeling like the meme with like the woman with like all the equation numbers in front of her. But
it'll make sense.
I think I get it enough to make these decisions.
It'll make sense. The more, and you can keep asking me questions, and I'll try to make sure. Like I've definitely taught, like, especially since joining TLA, we have many groups, and a lot of them have never played D&D before, and I was able to kind of like teach a ton of individuals recently. So I can I can definitely explain things. If you have any other like questions, feel free to ask me. That's what this is like all about.
Oh, hold on, I gotta scroll back 1 second just so I can see. Hold on, my computer's acting weird. All right, there we go. I think I'm good. Okay. All right, so first, that's why I have the 2 18s, right? That's the first thing I gotta figure out.
Yes, sir. And again, if you're wanting to be like a super book smart or street smart kind of guy, and like also intelligence and wisdom kind of help when you're using like creations, which are basically like One Piece D&D's version of spells. So like Usopp is somebody who, like, you know, with his rubber band of doom and, you know, like all of these like crazy like the pop greens and things like that. He is somebody who's, you know, constantly whipping out creations. Frankie's also whipping out creations and things like that. Whereas you have individuals like Zoro, who are not going to be really pulling many. He's just hitting people with swords, you know.
Yep, I understood. Man, this is tough. Well, I think the first thing I ought to do is 18 on dexterity. I just feel like it's so good.
It's true. What I mean? It's a really good call. And
so 2 18s, you know.
Yeah, as I put an 18 in there, it automatically calculates your modifier, and you can see that your saving throw and your skills are just like automatically calculated, as well as your armor class. So your armor class is always a base 10, and then it adds your dexterity modifier. So now your AC is 14 instead of 10, which is good. That means you're harder to hit. And so then you have another 18 to distribute.
I'm just trying to think, like, you know, if I'm a mole and I'm trying to be sneaky, there's probably going to be times where I fail in my sneakiness. And it might be good to be charismatic so I could be like, oh, dude, I'm just a friendly mole. I didn't know. I can't tell where I'm digging, you know.
Like, whoops, I didn't see you there, you know.
Yeah, I did not know. Like, I'm actually trying to blow this place up, but I had you know, like, I just got to, you know, because, like, I'm just a friendly mole. You know, it's just Groundhog's Day. You know,
Yeah.
that's all it is. So I think I'm gonna go, but like wisdom is like the other side to that, where like maybe I don't even mess up in the first place potentially. You know, maybe like or
I
like
see.
and
Yeah, I see
or
both sides of
intelligence
that,
also,
and
or
you
intelligence also.
do have a 16 as well that you're going to be. So you have other things that you're still going to be pretty good at. It's just about what you want to be on average better at. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I like both of those because
I think
charisma. Yeah,
Let's go
charisma is
charisma.
going to help you with your persuasion, with your deception, your intimidation, and things like that. So if you're wanting to be like, you could just like, you'd be like, oh, sorry, I'm just a blind guy. And even if you know, with your tremor sense, you absolutely saw them, you kind of like, you can kind of just like play it off like you didn't see anybody because of your poor eyesight or something like that. So that'd be pretty funny. I do that a lot as a blind man. No, I'm kidding. But so that's the two things that you are going to be typically on average the best at. Also, shout out to Kev DOG in the chat. What's good, brother?
Sure, shout out to Kev. Also, shout out to Lord Vegeta, because the way that was the one thing I was not understanding was the like the equation behind the modifiers. But now that Lord Vegeta just typed it out like that, now I understand. Like what? Because I was like, why is it a 4 when it's 18? Like I did that. That was like my brain just could not understand. But now the way he just said it, now I get it. Now
okay, yeah, my bad. Yeah, so like
you're good.
0 is unattainable. You should always have like at least a 1 in it, and that's like going to be the lowest potential like negative modifier you could have. And then a 20 is typically the cap. So you can't really go above a 20 except for in very niche cases, and that's really cracked if you do break a 20, which means a +5 is the highest you'll ever really have on your modifier.
Yeah, and like and just like it being based on 2s and like that, like honestly that alone was like, I was like, now I understand.
Yeah,
I can get,
and I'm really glad
how you get 4 out of 18.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you're grasping that, because that kind of tells you that odd numbers are not great. If you have a 14,
it's wasted, right?
Yeah, if you have a 14 in a stat and a 15 in the stat, it's the same modifier. But as you level up, you get points every certain levels, like that are called ability score increase levels, and you're able to allocate 2 points on ability score increase levels to these stats to kind of get better as you climb up through level 1 all the way up to level 20. And so if you have like an odd number, it doesn't increase your modifier, but it makes it to where you only have to put one of those new ability score improvement points into that on a future level up. So they're not completely useless, but yeah, odd numbers really don't do much as far as character creation goes. Which you didn't actually roll a whole lot of odd numbers, so that's pretty good.
No, I love 11 and 9, which are equivalent to like 10 and 8, I guess would be like how I think of it.
Exactly. Perfect. So yeah, you're getting it. So now we move on to the 16, and so this is going to be the thing that you're also still really good at, like almost twice as good as a normal person. So you were mentioning wisdom. That's a pretty good call, but also constitution does go into like your HP. So either one of those would be like what I recommend.
I'm going constitution because I was actually thinking of that for the other 18, and I'm not going to change it, but I was thinking of it because by virtue of me being a mole, I'm going to be digging near like lava, and there might be who knows what in the ground that's, you know, like not good for me.
It's true. So you never want to dig straight down, right? Minecraft rules. Yeah. What if you do just like hit lava? Like,
exactly. Which we'll get back to that later. But yeah, that
hype.
Yeah, I think that's a smart move, because who knows what I'm going to be finding down there, you know.
Nice. And then we move on down to the next descending, which is going to be your 12 and then 11 and then 9.
So 12 wisdom, 11 intelligence, 9 strength. I don't need the strength. I got a plan.
I like that. Yeah, a lot of people. So it's funny that you kind of gravitated towards that, because the most common 2 stats that people dump is intelligence and strength, just because you can really accomplish. Yeah. So this is actually right on with the meta, having dexterity being, you know, pretty up there, and then dumping those 2 for the most part. You're still going to be pretty good at intelligence on average, and you could even still be pretty good at strength on average. It's just those are 2 very commonly dumped stats. So back onto what I was talking about at the very beginning of when we were talking about minks, is you also as a level 1 get two you get two ability score improvement things that you can do. Well, 2 or 3, it just depends on how you're wanting to play it. But as a level 1 character, you roll your stats, and that's cool. And then as soon as you start, allocating those, now we can add your level 1 bonuses, which means that to any of these, you can either add 1 plus 2 bonus to any one and a plus 1 bonus to any other, or you can do 3 separate plus 1 bonuses.
Ooh. Okay.
So if you wanted to max out your dex right now, you can throw the plus 2 onto that and get a 20. And then you can round out one of your odd numbers with the 1, or you can pick 3 individual things and bump them each up by 1.
Oh man, this is tough. I mean, well, when you say by 1, is it like the 18 becomes a 19, or the 3 or the 4 becomes a 5?
The 18 would become a 19.
So my odd numbers could theoretically benefit, but then I would still have 1 number left over. So I guess I should probably use the 1 on an odd number, I guess is what I'm thinking, and then use the 2 somewhere else.
You could use 3 1s and round out both of your odd numbers, but create 1 more odd number.
Right. I mean, but that wouldn't really help me, though, right?
Yeah, most people go for the 2 and the 1, but and forget that the 3 1s exist. But you absolutely can. I think the chat wants you to max out the dex.
Yeah, we're gonna max out the dex. That's what I was thinking. I'm just debating on what I use the solo left. You know what I mean? Like, what do I use that on?
Yeah. So this is your only negative modifier, being strength. So you could
do strength just so it's 0.
Or you could bump this intelligence from a 0 modifier to a 1 modifier, just like your wisdom.
I'm gonna go strength up to 0. I don't like seeing the negatives.
Good call.
I don't want to nerf myself.
Good call. So that is now all of your stat points allocated. And then if you were to, so this is you starting at level 1, and you're already really cracked at a few things, so that's really great. And I want to make sure I scroll down and show the chat, this 18 in charisma, because that can be extremely important. There are characters that go all into charisma and dump everything else and only focus on charisma, and are able to kind of like weasel and talk their way out of like every situation, and just make friends with the enemies and stuff like that. So
that's what I'm planning on. I'm planning on like we'll talk about it towards the end. I got a strategy. I don't want to reveal my cards yet.
Hype. Yeah, no, that is absolutely hype. So the next major thing is to figure out give me just a second. I need to look at a few things. Okay, so your next is your class, which is going to be basically like this kind of describes a lot about your character's fighting style. Actually, real quick before we do that, we're going to go ahead and roll your HP, which is now that we have your +3 here to your constitution modifier, we can do that. Oh, we have to wait for your hit dice first. I'm sorry, I'm getting out of order. So your class is going to define a lot of things about you, and I'll toggle it back over to the other document so that the chat can see what classes are available. And so character classes are going to be very interesting in that they can give you a lot of different versatility. You can be like a barbarian, which some might argue like Zoro is kind of like a barbarian, and they're going to have a lot more HP than somebody who's like Usopp, who's like a gadgeteer or like a marksman. They're going to have a lot of HP. They're going to have some strength based attacks. They're going to be able to rage, which gives them some damage resistance, so they can sponge up some more hits and be a lot more tanky. But they're not going to have any like creative focus. So like they're not going to really be able to do like spell casting or anything like that. Or you could be like a bard, which is Brook, who has heavy spell casting focus, gonna have less HP, but he's gonna have more other versatile things that he can do with his like charisma, like you were saying. And he has like some martial capabilities. He can still swing a sword, but he's most effective doing some of his more utility things,
Yeah, that's my Baldur's Gate character. He's a bard.
Nice. Then we have a brawler, which is like Luffy, like just punching, just being like, so like in base D&D, this is a monk, and just being able to punch, being able to it's like a nice middle ground in between being like a barbarian and being like kind of like a druid of types. You get like a little bit of martial and a little bit of casting, which are the two main delineations between classes. Is, are they a martial character or are they like a caster or creative character? But Luffy is a brawler. Absolutely. Different brawling styles are like, you know, you could do like Okama Kempo, and you could do like Fishman Karate and stuff. Or you could just like punch the crap out of people. Like just like you're built like that. A fighter would be someone more like Sanji. You know, very skill oriented, less I mean, you could argue that Zoro's also a fighter, but this is going to be somebody who's not quite as ragey and tanky as a barbarian, and has a little bit more of like a technical side to their martial combat, but again, not a lot of creative focus. A marksman is going to be obviously somebody who has long ranged weapon capabilities, as well as some creative focus, like setting up traps and things like that. So Usopp is tried and true marksman. A medic would obviously be like your Chopper kind of situation, or Trafalgar D. Law. And so there's like, you know, medics that are like field surgeons that can kind of heal people on the battlefield. Then there's other medics that are less combat focused and just work on like staying on the back lines and healing people who fall. But there's poison, you know, types of medics. Like and like alchemists as well. So there's a lot of different subclasses to each of these classes where we can get a lot more specific. I'm just kind of going over the basics. A rogue is somebody who's going to be very sneaky. They're going to be able to do massive amounts of damage if they're able to get the drop on their person, but they're not going to necessarily be someone who's going to be like a barbarian or a fighter when it comes to a war of attrition kind of battle.
Right.
So they go for like Nova builds. So like a lot of damage right away, trying to get that assassination off or something like that. And or like hiding and sneaking away from the fray and popping in and out. And then we have Savant would be, this is kind of like a weird, this is so like this is like actually what they put Sanji as. And it's like you're able to kind of channel a specific, so it's like elemental hockey kind of. You know, you know Parvision's theories and stuff like that. So this is like if you're gonna be like very fire themed, you would be like a savant who like again, this has like some martial focus, but also mostly just like being able to cast, and it's like very elementally flavored. If you wanted to be poison themed like Reiju, you'd probably be a savant. If you wanted to be fire themed like Sanji, you know, you'd probably be a savant. If you had you already have a little bit of like, because of your electro.
Right,
a little bit of that theming.
I probably wouldn't. Yeah.
So if you wanted to lean into it, you could absolutely do that. But I don't know, depending on these, and I tried to equate them to like a straw hat each, if that kind of helped you decide, because that's where a lot of One Piece people kind of immediately think like, okay, would I want to be like this straw hat or that straw hat? So what were you thinking as far as like your battlefield capabilities and your fighting style?
Well, I'm between two different things, because I'm like Bard is the easy answer for me because of Brook, right? But you know, the build I'm kind of thinking of is stealth, and so Rogue would make so much more sense here. You know,
I like both of those. So the main distinction between the two is like you have dexterity and you have charisma, and so charisma is going to be something that bards use as well as dexterity. Right. But a rogue is going to focus mostly on the dexterity side of things. A rogue is not going to inherently have like creative abilities, although there are subclasses of rogues that can use creations or spells. Whereas a bard is going to be very creatively focused and going to have less martial things.
Bard it is.
We're going for bard.
Well, okay.
Excellent.
Well, I have now. Well, now that I thought about it more, the stealth, I can combine the bard factor with the stealth factor. You know,
absolutely.
Don't worry, we'll get there. We'll get there. I got a plan.
Yeah. So now this is a table that kind of shows you as you go from first level all the way to 20th level what you get. And this is a lot of information to take in all at once. You don't need to look at all of it, because we're just going to go ahead and start at just level 1. So just at the very top line at level 1 as a first level character, your proficiency bonus is a +2, which means all of the things that you have proficiency in, you are going to just be just like 10% better at it, because on a d20, one digit is 5%. So if you get a +2, that kind of just makes you 10% on average better. And as you grow all the way up to level 20, your proficiency will climb to a +6, but that's cracked and we're definitely not there yet.
Yeah, all these sound familiar from Baldur's Gate, like Bardic Inspiration, 100%.
Creativity, which is going to be right there under features at first level, is that's basically your ability to cast spells. It's just there's not really actual spells, arguably in to be determined in One Piece, right? By that name at least. But there's like it's like the way of reflavoring like a spell like Fireball, which is like, I'm sure you've seen in Baldur's Gate. It's one of the most popular spells in all of D&D. Like I cast Fireball. Well, instead of casting Fireball, what if you had a flammable substance that you threw a vial of that ignites? And so it's like it's just like reflavoring like classic D&D spells to be gadgets, gizmos, creations, contraptions, and like things like that people, it's mostly technology based. But there is also like hockey, like that people can use to flavor some of these abilities and whatnot. So like with Diablo Jambe, like what's the science behind that? It's that he's moving his foot so fast that it catches on fire. Like, so there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of flavor creativity. But basically, as far as Baldur's Gate's terms, it's casting spells.
Okay.
And then we have Bardic Inspiration. And then there's in parentheses a D6 right next to it. That is a resource you're going to be able to use to inspire your crewmates to just be better at what they're doing. So really crazy. It's good for support. It's good for utility. Bard is a very well-rounded all-arounder, and you'll even see at level 2 one of the features there is called Jack of all trades, and that's where you're literally just kind of better at everything. So it's a very, very diverse. It's super useful. I love bards.
I'm waiting for Brooke to start like playing music to make the crew better. Like we've never seen that where Brooke plays a song and everyone gets inspired or like motivated. I'm ready for that to happen.
I can't wait either. Yeah, like his soul parade ability where he's what we see from Brooke is that he's typically like more of a debuff bard, where he nerfs the enemies more than he buffs his crew, but he does do some like rallying things, like but he is a very martial focused bard. He does use his sword very, very effectively. He also debuffs the enemies, so that's kind of like the flavor that he goes for, but that's not necessarily the same flavor that you as a bard have to go for, as we'll see when we get to the subclasses. The only other thing to see on this big table here, the only other thing to really look at as far as level 1 is your tricks and first level creations. And so tricks are 0 level spells like cantrips, and these are spells that you're going to be able to cast infinitely. As all you have to do is have the action economy to be able. So if you get an action, a bonus action, and a reaction each turn, and with your action economy, if you can cast a cantrip an infinite number of times, so long as you have your action available still. But if you've already used your action to dodge, then you can't cast a cantrip that takes an action. But a first level spell, you only have a certain finite number of spell slots, and you'll need to take rests in order for those to come back to you. So those are going to be more impactful mechanically, but the trade-off there is that you're only going to be able to use them a certain number of times. For a 0 level spell, you can do that infinite. You can do that as many times as you want, every single turn if you want. So that's the main delineation between a trick and a leveled spell. So we're going to go ahead and roll down. Oh, here's the Soul King.
One quick question. So I see it says like Bardic Inspiration D6, then later D8, then later D10, then later D12. Is that just like the amount of numbers on the die increases? Yes. I guess, if that makes sense.
So like 6-sided die.
Potential maximum.
Yes, exactly. Okay. The minimum is still the same. You could still roll a 1 on all of those, but the maximum is so the ceiling is what's improving there. Which is really good. So yeah, Dungeons and Dragons uses multiple dice. There's D4s, D6s, D8s, D12s, and D20s, and even D100s if you're feeling really frisky, which are so fun. But
Wow. Damn.
yeah, D100 is so fun. I love having my players roll. It's called a percentile a lot of times, and if you don't have a big fancy D1 a 100 sided dice, a lot of the people will just roll 2 D10s, and one will be one digit and one will be the other digit. Does that make sense?
That's smart. That's really smart.
Yeah, so but as you get better at being a bard and as you level up and things like that, the amount of potential support or debuff you will be able to dish out will start to increase. And so evolving from a D6, a 6-sided dice, like, you know, the most popular dice probably, you'll start to move up to a D8, a D10, and even a D12 eventually. So it's a great question. But you do start at a D6. So now we're looking at the class features here. I'll let the stream catch up in just a second. I'll kind of yap a little bit, but this is going to be a lot of like what we were getting with the lineage. This is where you kind of get to customize yourself a little bit more. You see what you get as a base bard, and then from being a base bard, we will then pick your subclass once we get there. So starting out, your hit dice is a D8, and that is going to be what goes into quantifying your hit points. For every level, you get a hit dice, and on short rests, you're able to spend hit dice, and they come back on long rests. And so that's like how you're able to kind of regain HP if you take like a little hour break. And this also helps defining your HP total. So for the first level, you always take the maximum, and the maximum on a D8 is an 8. And then we also add your modifier, your constitution modifier, which would be a 3. So you're at first level starting with 11 HP, which is not bad. That's pretty good for a first level. So you having 11 HP, and then if we were to level up from there, you would roll a hit die and add your constitution modifier, and that would determine how much your maximum goes up. So that's how that is decided. Okay. And then we also have starting proficiencies. You're going to start proficient with light armor, which is not to be confused with medium and heavy armor. So you're not going to be a very heavily armored individual. You're going to have like leather armor or like hide armor or something like that. Or even no armor, which people do that all the time. And then as far as weapons, you have proficiency with all simple weapons, as well as hand crossbows, pistols, cutlass, long swords, rapiers, and short swords. And all of these are different kinds of weapons. Some of them do D4s damage. Some of them do D6s worth of damage. Some of them even do D8s worth of damage. Some of them are longer or shorter than others and might have the reach property. Some of them are going to be pointy and they're going to do piercing damage, whereas others are going to be sharp and do slashing damage, and some might even do bludgeoning damage. And so again, with the Luffy versus Buggy debate, like slashing damage can be very effective against Luffy and completely ineffective against Buggy. So it's important to kind of make the distinction between the types of damage that are being dealt. Then we have your tools. You are immediately proficient in 3 musical instruments of your choice, which is cracked. Like as a bard, you're kind of able to just jam. This is kind of more for flavor, but it's also really fun, like for role play moments and things like that, and like for you to kind of like. So as a mole, I would definitely recommend the drums. But like. But
I'm thinking in my head, like, I mean, just logistically, it's going to be really hard to play some instruments while I'm tunneling underground. You know what I mean? Like, which I know I don't always have to do that, but I should have at least one that I can play while I'm digging, right?
That's why I was thinking like the drums, because you kind of just like make like boulder drums like anywhere you're at, and just like you remember Stomp, like the back in the day, like they're able to like just drum on
music class all the time.
Yeah, they're able to just drum on trash can lids and shit like that. So I mean, like I don't know, I would think that'd be pretty cool if that was something. But where was your head at?
Well, okay, well, one has to be the violin because it's just, I mean, that's Brooks' thing. That's just like the ultimate. Which like man, I mean, I'm just imagining having mole claws and like trying to play a violin, like no chance. But we'll do it anyway. And then okay, the one that I can play while I'm while I'm digging is the harmonica.
Let's
Definitely need
go.
that. Absolutely need the harmonica. And then I'll go with the drums as well because the more I think about it, I could do a thing where like I dig a bunch of holes, but then I'm playing the drums underneath, so like the sound's coming up through the holes, and then everyone's like, "Bro, what's going on?" But I'm actually like playing in the safety of the underground. You know, like if people can hear my concert, basically is what I'm getting at.
I
They
love
won't even
that.
know where it's coming from. So definitely
Yeah,
gonna go
I
with
love
that.
that. That's super great. We love that for you. Okay, so we have a violin, a harmonica, and the drums.
Yeah,
Like the drums
harmonica
of
OP.
the drums of liberation, some might say. Even
Mm-hmm.
like like if you're going for that kind of flavor. And so typically when you have this as a bard, we like to allocate those to your charisma stat because your charisma is what goes into your performance skill. So if you were to
Okay.
just be like, I'm gonna bust out a performance, so if you're going to be, if you roll like I'm gonna play the violin, okay, make a performance, you will be able to use your performance modifier, your charisma modifier, plus your proficiency, because now you are proficient with those things. So you get a +6 because your
Wow.
charisma is a 4 and your proficiency is a 2 to every d20. So if you roll like a 19, you got a 25 as your result for that, which is really freaking good. And you're probably gonna charm like a lot of people are gonna be tapping their toes at that. So that's really great. And again, it's a little bit more for flavor, but part of D&D, a very huge part of D&D is the social side of things, is role playing. So there's combat, obviously, there's exploration, which is really fun, like dungeon crawls and things like that, but there's always the social side of it, and this is what really serves that. And as a bard, you do a really great job of hitting all three of those pillars of play. But you're very, very, very adept, more so than a lot of others, at the social side of things. Now we are going to look at your saving throws, which are going to be dexterity and charisma. You're going to be proficient at dexterity saving throws and charisma saving throws. So the way that I describe like dexterity saving throws versus like dexterity checks is like, if you're going to be like, okay, so I want to like sleight of hand, I want to initiate an action to be dexterous. That's a check. If you're going to want to use dexterity to fend off somebody else's initiated action, that's a save. So if a boulder is about to fall on you, you would be like, okay, well, I'm going to make a dexterity save to get out from underneath it, because that's some other initiated action that is affecting you, and you are going to try to save out of it. Whereas a check is you yourself initiating an action. Does that make sense?
Yep, I understand.
All right. And so the difference between a strength saving throw and a dexterity saving throw is that a strength saving throw is going to be like, okay, well, a boulder's falling on you, I'm going to try to catch it. And you know, like that's a strength saving throw.
Catching,
or I'm gonna
dodging.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get the heck out the way. That's a dexterity. So that's the difference between the different types of saving throws. So you're gonna be very good at charisma saving throws and very good at dexterity saving throws. In fact, you have a +7 to your dexterity saving throws because you're +5 on your dexterity mod and your 2 proficiency.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're good. I'm dodging everything.
Exactly. So then we go to equipment. And so a lot of the times equipment is very important for you to decide like what kind of combat focus you're going to have. You have your choice of either a rapier, a longsword, or any other simple weapon. Excuse me. A longsword is going to be specifically two-handed, and I think specifically strength based, whereas a rapier can be used with one hand and can also be used with your dexterity. What I would recommend though, because you are a mole and you know the dirt boss does have a pickaxe himself, is that you grab yourself like a pickaxe.
I wasn't even thinking that. I mean, well hold on. So wait, do I just real quick, do I get one of each of these bullet points?
Yes, and the bullet points have A's or B's that you have to choose in between of. So you get one thing from each of these bullet points.
Okay.
But you have to choose which thing, A, B, or C. So you do get a diplomat's pack or an explorer's pack, regardless of what weapon you choose.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, well, I'm definitely gonna do a pickaxe then, because I was gonna say if it's one or the other, then I'm gonna have to skip this one. But if it's each bullet point.
Oh yeah. You got it. And so let me go ahead and drag a pickaxe onto your character sheet really quickly. And then if you're looking at the next one, these packs are just kind of like a kind of all encompassing. I'm gonna give you a war pick. How does that sound? like
a war pick?
Yeah, it's just like a big pickaxe.
Oh yeah, great. That sounds great. Can it be made of a certain material, or am I asking for too much?
I'm cool with that, bro. Like, I'm a pretty lenient DM, especially since we're not actually running this character, unless you're down to play some One Piece D&D, which I would be absolutely for that. But yeah, I'm pretty lenient.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I guess if we're gonna go stick to the One Piece world, it should be made of liquor iron ore, because that's also from Wano. That's like the hardest material.
That is so cracked. I love it.
I'm waiting for that to matter, by the way, guys. It was mentioned a couple times and it never really, like, we know the government wanted it, you know what I mean? Like, they were interested in it, in the trade of it, and it never really came to light in Wano at all, which is one of my million issues with Wano.
Yeah, and I think it's really funny the way that Oda worded it is in Japanese, the kanji that's used for it is ki tetsu. Because tetsu means iron, and ki, like keen, can like translate to gold, and it's like golden iron or something like that. But also kitetsu is like a demon slayer.
And when kitetsu, isn't that like a sword, like, or isn't one of them named Kitetsu?
Exactly. There's the Sandai Kitetsu Yodai and Shodai, or like a Nidai and Shodai Kitetsus. So it's like there's like a Kitetsu school of like blacksmiths that hail from Wano. And so the fact that Oda is, so we as English speaking fans would never have known that liquor iron ore is actually referred to as Kitetsu.
That's interesting. Because I know it's like liquor iron ore is like the English version of it, but I know like drunken ore is also what it's called, or like another term for it, like their translation for it, I should say. So I didn't even know the Kitetsu thing. Like that's really like I said, and Straw Hat Lucas is typing in the chat. That's gotta. I'm mad that hasn't mattered. I'm ready for some like resources to matter.
It's crazy because Koala was able to recognize it in Post Dressrosa just by looking at it. Just by looking at it, it's discernibly different, and it's something that Kaido wanted to have like his army equipped by, and that Doflamingo was specifically equipped to be able to mass produce. So like I think it's really interesting, and I think that by the time we hit Final War, we're going to get like more theory crafting, but I'm here for it. I love it. I think it will absolutely be something that's important once we see the revs, because now the revs have all of that ammunition and those weapons and things like that. So when we do see the revs actually like mobilize, it will absolutely be like them wielding. And I'm hoping that becomes something that's important more than like an SBS mention,
Yeah, and that's why I really want the revolutionaries to get Bonnie and her Mark IIIs, because then it's like tying into what you're saying with the liquor iron ore, it's like they're taking advantage of the supply chain systems and the money that the government had by like, okay, well, you're using these to get these horrible weapons that you're going to use for, to enslave people and stuff. Well, screw you. We're just going to take it and use it against you. Like, I need that to happen, where the revs are just suited up with all the government's like stuff they've been spending money on. Like, I need that, because the dragon just pulls up with like all the pacifista, like tough shit, like we're just, I got what you were working for. Yeah,
no, I'm definitely here for it. We could definitely talk a lot more about the Final War and like other like Elbaf predictions and stuff. I know you've got a full video on it on your channel about multiple videos even about Elbaf predictions, and I'm so hyped for it. But
can't wait.
I figured as far as the rest of your equipment, you're a cave crawler kind of guy. You're not necessarily, you might be interested in a diplomat's pack, but I think an explorer's pack is probably going to be something you're more akin to, right?
that sounds right. You know, without knowing exactly the
Yeah,
ins and
so
outs.
a diplomat's pack is gonna have like robes and like sealing wax and parchment and like, you know, like you're gonna be like, you know, like a traveling diplomat type of thing, and you're gonna have
What's in
like
the explorer pack?
it's gonna have like pitons, like, you know, for sticking into cliff sides and climbing up, and like torches and rope and like a mess kit and stuff like that. So it's just like general survival stuff. I think
You
that's
know what? I'm gonna make a bold call. Give me the diplomats pack.
let's
Give
go.
me. I'm physically equipped with the explorers pack. Is the way I'm thinking of it. Sort of. You know, obviously there's some benefits that I wouldn't have, but like, I'm physically built to be climbing. You know what I'm saying? And like, or not
Yeah.
climbing, but in the ground. Like to go up, I can climb through a mountain, like through it, not out
So-
on the outside.
Notably, there's also things like a bedroll, a mess kit, and a water skin in the explorers pack, which are just general survival stuff that don't involve like, you know what I mean? So like, you don't need the torches. You're right. You don't need the pitons, but like just having like a little knapsack and like, you know, like you don't even really. Yeah, you're right. You don't need it. Like the
I've
more I
been
think about it,
sleeping under a mountain for 800 years, or at least my dad has. You know. So I'm good.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to use the diplomats pack for yet, but something in my brain's telling me I should pick that one. And
you
I'm
never
gonna find a use.
know. And
I'm
like
gonna sneak in. I'm gonna be like Lafitte. I'm gonna sneak in by like digging through the ground though, and I'm just gonna pop in there and be like, "Who are you?" And I'm gonna be in my diplomat pack, and I'm gonna be like, "I'm here to make a deal. Like I got an offer. You know, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but
I'm
that's
just
gonna be part of my
imagining
sneak.
like a dapper, like with a monocle and like a tuxedo, like you're just like, oh, I say, like, I don't know, that's hilarious.
Yep. I'll just pull up, because then that's the thing is if I look regal and I sneak into the building, then they're not gonna think they're gonna be like, oh, well, he looks really weird because he's a mole. But if he's got these robes and has like this part, like he looks like a diplomat, he's like here to talk some business, I'm not gonna bother him.
That's hilarious. So we love that. That's actually hilarious. And yeah, you're right. You really don't need the explorers. And I mean, you could just kind of like talk your way in to be like, oh, hey, I'm pretty thirsty. Can I get like some water? So you don't need like the water skid, or you could just tap into some groundwater.
I was about to say, you got to remember the dirt boss. Where did we find him? A hot spring island. And then he dug to Alabasta, and where did he dig into? A pool, like in the middle of the city. That's like he like saw Koza right whenever he got there. He was in water. So
Yeah,
I'm not worried about it.
If it's running water too, you'd probably be able to sense it through the rocks with your tremor sense. So you're good.
Groundwater is such a, it's just everywhere. And also, tying back to Pluton one more time, all the water that's above Old Wano is fresh water. So going back to the moles, like
just take a sip. Yeah,
Pluton's set. Pluton's not worried about water.
Well, it's like mineral water, even if you get it like from an aquifer, because you've got like the calcium and like iron and stuff. So you're getting that good.
Good call.
Yeah.
I don't need any of that. I'm good. I got my chambers down there with all my nutrients.
Nice. The next on equipment is you get to start with either a lute or any musical instrument. So I mean, I'm assuming you're gonna pick violin, maybe, because you were so quick on that pick with the Brook theming.
Give me the harmonica.
I imagine you have like one of those like little head braces, so you can like be hands free with it. That's so freaking
exactly.
Great.
I'm just gonna be digging, playing the harmonica. Like people will hear me coming. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll hear the harmonica. It'll be like the sound of death. Like whenever, like with Brook, whenever they found Brook and he was like singing in the fog, like
the humming swordsman. Yeah.
And we're all like, oh, what is that? That sounds so terrifying. It's gonna be the same thing, but with me playing a harmonica. Like I'm just digging through the holes. Like, oh no, oh god. I haven't heard this sound since this like terrible incident happened. So yeah,
that's crazy. Like I really like that actually. And then the last thing as far as choosing your starting equipment here is you get, this isn't a choice, this is just like a thing you just automatically get, is leather armor and a dagger. And you might not really have any use for it. Maybe you just use the dagger to cut open your food or something like that.
Yeah, I reject the leather armor because it was probably made, with other mammals, and I reject it. I love
that you have that flavor already in mind, because like I have a little chimpanzee mink character that I play. His name's Saru, or his name's Renchi Saru, which just means monkey wrench in Japanese.
I like that.
And he is he is a cook for the like a D&D group that I'm in. We play on SSJ Cody's Twitch every we're gonna be on break this week because he's got a new job that he's kind of adjusting to overnight schedules, but we typically play on Sundays at 7 p.m. CST ish. And my guy Renchi is the cook, but he refuses to cook anything that has ever had hair on it at any point in its life cycle because he's a mink. And so that extends to like peaches because there's peach fuzz and like certain like other, like it's so funny, like so that, like I'm just like really snooty about what food I'll cook. It's so funny. Like that's I don't think he would cook a catfish because it has whiskers, you know, even though it's not hair. But yeah, so it's shout out to Tree the Wolf in the chat. He's that's Renchi's best friend in the campaign, Lynn. So yeah, it's super fun, and I love. Everyone forgets that minks are like they won't eat anything that has hair, like, and I took that to a whole nother level. So I like that.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of that. You know, and it's funny because I didn't even like. I didn't know you guys or anybody like, you know, went that hard on like the fun little aspects of it. That was just something I was thinking of as like, you know, I have leather armor on also, you know what I mean? So like I definitely don't need it, and like if I can make it a little flavorful where there's like a reason, you know.
So you could also
I like that a lot. Big fan.
Yeah. As a game runner, like I would also be totally fine with you just taking like a different type of armor instead of leather that's like around an equivalent like so padded armor, or like you know, like or hide, which would again hide would be, you could do like fish hide armor or something, like if you're cool with that, but you'd still be able to get yourself a little bit of a boost to your AC mechanically without it having to be leather. But it, like, I don't know if you had like a, like, it'd be cool if you were like diamond coated, like once you got like really cracked and high level.
I mean, the only other thing I can think is like it wouldn't like help me that much, but like something like I don't know, like a very thick like wool sweatshirt or something that like acts like chainmail, because then it's just like hair.
Yeah, you know I also got to address Straw Hat Lucas in the chat. Sorry. Yes, the two of the players are, but Renchi's still mad at V because of the whole Jeremy Biker situation. Sorry, that's some in-game drama, but I love you, Lucas. But Lynn is Renchi's best friend, so I got to shout out DQ. But yeah, Lucas is also in that game, so it's a ton of fun. And yeah, that's like one of my favorite parts about D&D is you can get into like the really flavorful things. Like I'm going to shout out to another one of the TLA D&D groups, at group 3, ran by a guy, Kev. That's not actually his name. His name's Blinkas, but we call him Kev. It's just an inside joke at this point. But they have been going on. They're the most consistent of the TLA D&D groups because we went on a hiatus and had a lot of break weeks and stuff like that. I had a lot of IRL stuff, but group 3 has been going strong for a very, very long time. I originally taught Kev a little bit about how to run games, and now he's just done such a fantastic job. You can check them out on Dire Regulus's channel every Saturday at about 5 p.m. CST or EST. Fantastic group of individuals, and one character specifically who's no longer actually a part of the crew. She got replaced, but Nui was a tontada. And I loved some of the flavor that the player Maze, shout out to Maze if you're in the chat or if you're watching this in future. That's a homie. We play Magic the Gathering all the time, and he's getting pretty good at it. But he did some flavor with some of his character, like his creations, his spells and things like that. And it was so clever. So like he was able to like cast Firebolt, which is like a cantrip, and instead of it being like just a burst of fire that this tontada randomly spit from their palm, it was a tontada Tabasco like candy that they threw.
Ooh, that's dope.
And then like, yeah, it was like there was like healing word, which is like a ranged spell attack, which like you can kind of flavor it as you sing them a song or something. But this person wasn't a bard. They were a gadgeteer, like a trinket master type of thing. So it was actually a rocket propelled Band-Aid.
Oh wow.
And which is very crazy. One Piece. Yeah, and so like there's so much cool stuff that you could do to kind of,
that is awesome, like
flavor these things. That's one of my favorite things about like D&D and One Piece D&D specifically, is you can really like retool and reskin all of these things to be like as into it as you want. So like, yeah, there's a lot of that in One Piece D&D.
That's dope. I'm a big fan.
As far as creativity, there's a lot of text here that basically goes into saying that your charisma is what you use your creations around. So instead of being like intelligence-based casting or wisdom-based casting, you are going to be using your charisma, which is ideal for you because that's what you have the most points put into, right?
Yep, exactly. I mean, that was part of the plan originally, with picking a bard.
And then we've also got bardic inspiration here after we scroll through all of these. Like, this is just a very long way of telling you how your spellcasting works. So this will show you the numbers as to how your spell to hit, like, because remember you have to like roll to hit, and then you can see if you hit, you can roll the damage, right? So this is just going to tell you how accurate your spells are, and if somebody is going to have to save out of your spells. So if you're hitting a single target, you roll to hit. If you're hitting an area of effect, you're going to just do that, and people will have to roll to try to save out of it. So this determines how hard it is for them to get out of your area of effect stuff. And so that's like that's what the creation attack modifier and creation save DC are in the side there. That's all not necessarily super important until you're actually like playing the game, so we're just going to kind of breeze right through that. But if anyone wants to just pause the stream in the future and read all of this, or check the link in the description, you definitely have access to all of this as well. You're able to use an apparatus as your spellcasting focus, which means that you can cast through your harmonica, kind of, because you're bard. And so that's pretty cool. So you could use creations with, so like maybe you create like a ground collapse or something, because like kind of like how an avalanche can be triggered by like loud sounds. You can like collapse a tunnel by just like triggering it with your harmonica or something like that. Like there's like a lot of cool things that you can kind of flavor that as. And then we get to bardic inspiration, which is you being able to buff the homies just a little bit. So being able to add that D6 to somebody, being able to kind of, it's really, really, really good. You can't necessarily buff yourself with this though, but this does help you become a lot more of a team player. And this is how mechanically it works: is you're able to kind of dish these out. You get a certain number of them per long rest. So you have to it's resource management. You have to be wary about throwing these all out right at the beginning of like one combat, because you don't know how many other battles you're going to have before you get to like, fully rest and regain these. But your allies can hold on to these, can just kind of keep these like holstered in their pocket and whip them out as soon as they need them. So it's really, really great. It's one of my favorite skills, and there's different ways with different subclasses that you can use these bardic inspiration resources to even debuff individuals, or like for other means, and you can even buff yourself with certain subclasses. So that's what bardic inspiration is. And then
buffing myself, that's what I need to do.
Then we get to stuff like Jack of all trades, which is a second level thing, which you'll get like right after you start your adventure. You kind of level up. I would argue that Luffy was already like level 3 before he even got off of like Dawn Island, you know what I mean? Being able to take on a freaking Sea King. Like technically he kind of one-tapped it, but yeah, like I would say Luffy was already up to like around level 3. Level 1 is like, I don't recommend level 1 for newer players. I recommend starting at level 2 or 3, just because you kind of get a lot more out of the way with character creation and don't have to worry. Level 1 can be very punishing because you have 11 HP. If somebody crits on you, you could literally go down right away. So it's just you getting up to level 2, you get extra bonuses and even subclasses with certain classes. Some classes don't get their subclasses until level 3 though. But one of the cool things that you get as a level 2 once you get there is that Jack of all trades. It's whenever you're not proficient in something, you add half of your proficiency to it. So every single thing that you're not proficient in, you're just a little bit better in than you would be if you were just. So it's your proficiency bonus is a 2. This means you get to add a +1 to everything that you're not already adding your proficiency, your +2 to. So you just get a buff to every skill in the game.
Got it.
That's so cool. Like I love that about bards, and I think that we see that in Brook like a lot as well. You know.
Yeah, I think in Baldur's Gate they have that as well. I think I definitely have used that, or because I think it's like one of the options you can choose is Jack of all trades, and I think I did choose it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Baldur's Gate uses a lot of these like identical mechanics. There's just some added flavor to the One Piece document here.
Yeah, and Brook is I mean that's pretty much his whole thing, like in Whole Cake. You know what I mean? Like sneak in, the run on water to go save Carrot, I mean, you could even say to a degree like charisma, maybe a charisma. I don't know if it'd be a saving throw or a check, but kind of like how he faked like being asleep or whatever, you know, or like he was asleep for parts of the time, but like Big Mom didn't kill him and he was able to sneak out of a room is what I'm getting at.
Oh yeah,
thanks to the help of everyone else. So definitely in his ballpark.
And then there's also some other skills that you get here. I won't focus too much on those, although they're pretty cool if you wanted to peel through and look at the document and look at some of the things that you would get at higher level. Expertise is a really well-noted one. So that means that some of the things that you're already proficient in, you would double your proficiency. Which is dope. So instead of just getting a 2, you would get 4 on that. And so that means you could have up to a +8 or a +9 in certain things at level 3, which is a really, really great modifier. like that's better than a lot of people are going to get on most of their stuff. And then you'll see also at certain levels, there are ability score improvements. And so at level 4, you're able to bump your ability scores, those 6 things that we allocated at the beginning, up by a little bit. So you could, you know, max out your charisma and get it from an 18 to a 20 once you hit level 4. And so that's kind of like how level progression kind of works. But the next main thing that we should look at is your subclass, which is your bardic college. And so there's a lot of different colleges that you could, like, that's just kind of what they call them. It doesn't necessarily make sense. I'll tell you right away, Brook is a sword bard, whereas there is like eloquence bards, which focus more on words. And then there's going to be like lore bards, which focus more on like history and things like that. And there's a lot of different types of flavors of like what bards can do. So there's the College of Legends, which is you're drawn to powerful personalities, and this is basically like a going off of like myth and stuff like that. I think this is what they reskinned lore to be. And there's some cool individual things that you can get as being a legend bard. And you probably have seen this in Baldur's Gate as well, just with slightly different options. But as far as like being a bard, what were you trying to focus on fighting style wise, specifically, if you already had an idea in mind?
Can you just scroll down through, like, I see like a luring warrior. Is that part of the college thing? Is that, or?
Yes. So the College of Legends will get the alluring warrior, and it says beginning at 3rd level you get that. Sorry, I scrolled down and I'll scroll back up. We'll just wait for chat to catch back up on that. But yeah, so that's like something that you get as the College of Legend subclass, and you'll also get other things like Legendary Flourish, which I'll scroll down for that slightly. And you'll get like, so it's like at different levels, you'll like, as you level up, you get base bard things, and you also get your subclass bard things. And so this is a way of it customizing as you kind of like crawl up through the levels. So at face value, the main thing that you're going to be able to do is you can use your charisma modifier instead of strength or dexterity for attacking and damaging rolls. And you're also going to be able to use any martial weapon as your apparatus. So you could, instead of using
martial weapon.
So there's simple weapons and then there's martial weapons. So like a short sword would be, well, actually a short sword is not a simple weapon. It's a martial weapon.
Really?
But, yeah. So like
the most basic one.
It's confusing because they switched it like between editions and things like that. But yeah, so like but basic weapons would be, you know, like things that anybody can, like simple weapons would be like things that most anybody can use with little to no training, whereas a martial weapon is going to be something like a war hammer or like a glaive or like you know, like really big heavy hitting weapons that you need a little bit more training for.
If short sword does not count as like a basic weapon, is like all I can think is like a dagger.
Yes.
Like I don't even know what else would.
Yeah, qualify. Like a dagger would absolutely be like a basic weapon. And then there's also
name another one.
Yeah, so the simple weapons, I can actually pull it up really quickly. There's a ton of different simple weapons. So like a sling, hold on, I'll pull it up right
slingshot?
here. So slingshot and a sling are technically like kind of different things, but
okay.
yeah,
I didn't know if you were gonna finish the word and say slingshot. That's all.
You can flavor it as a slingshot, absolutely. But so like a club, a dagger, a hand axe, a javelin, a light hammer, a mace, quarterstaff, and spear.
Wait, hold on. Did you just say javelin? They got javelins in the simple weapons. Have you tried throwing a javelin?
I have not. No. Again, I didn't make these rules. This is just kind of what D&D's been going off of.
Tell them to call me. I've tried it. Like it was like in summer camp or something. I can't remember when I was younger. I need to have a talk with that. We need to go javelin throwing. Me and that guy. I'll show him. I'll show if a short sword isn't a simple weapon, but a javelin is.
I think the main thing is it's not necessarily so like if to go into like what the martial weapons are, a lot of them are going to be more strength based as opposed to, and so like it requires prerequisites either in training or in just like having like the ability to wield it. So like as far as like a simple weapons like a hand axe, a martial weapon would be a battle axe or a great axe, which are going to be much bigger.
I'm just thinking like, you know, like I could hit something with a lot of those weapons, even if I may not be very good with it. I couldn't hit anything with a javelin. That's all I'm thinking is like I would have zero chance to win any fight ever with a javelin.
I definitely
I would
feel
never
you.
hit anything. I would just throw it and just miss every time. I would, you know what I mean? I would never ever hit a single thing. Like could I throw it? Yes. Can I hit the target? No chance. So, but hey, you know, I think
I think a trident would be maybe a little bit harder than a javelin, just because it's like more aerodynamic. You have like more points that you could hit with because there's the three, but it's like it's not as aerodynamic or something. So I don't know. I feel, and a trident is a thrown weapon that is a martial instead of a simple weapon. So I don't know.
Hold the trident though and just stab people with it. I mean, I guess you could theoretically do that with a javelin, but I don't think
you could theoretically do that with a javelin as well, yeah, or a spear.
I would be more effective doing that than throwing it. I'll say that much. But
yeah,
if I throw, I have no chance.
And I think that they were just wanting to make sure that there were some thrown options for simple and some thrown options for martial. Although I do agree, I would not be able to. Dude, I'm legally blind. I wouldn't hit shit with half of these weapons.
Dude, I would like a slingshot. Like I could figure that out. You know what I'm saying? Like something simple like that. Even a bow and arrow, like really hard, I could probably get. I'm just thinking like javelin, dude. Like. I'd be practicing for days to start hitting things.
Ragnar in the chat is absolutely goated. Said, "Give you a shovel for a weapon."
Oh, I should have picked that instead of a pickaxe. Maybe
can
I swap it? Can I swap it to
I'm cool with
shovel?
that. Yeah, I'm totally
I want
fine
a
with
shovel.
that.
I want a shovel.
I love unconventional weapons. Like I don't know if you're big into Hunter x Hunter, but like, you know, there's like a character who uses like a fishing pole and another character who uses like a yo-yo, even though they're not like.
Yep.
They're not, you know, weapons that really survive the whole length of the show. They only kind of do that in like the first couple of arcs, and then they just start using like Nen, the magic system that's in there. But like, it's really interesting when you get like, there's a dude who uses playing cards, and another guy who uses like coins, and it's just so cool when you just have like these unique weapons.
I mean, like Sabo with a pipe. You know, like
that's definitely along the same kind of like line of thinking. So you just wielding like I'm cool with just giving you a shovel and a pickaxe, dude. I don't care. But yeah, like that's like a really interesting kind of way to customize your fighting style as well through flavor is like I don't know, like El Kabong just beating the crap out of somebody with like an acoustic guitar or something, although you don't have to go that route. But there's a lot of different things that you can do outside of just the weapons that are like traditionally listed. We can get pretty creative with it.
I like it. I like the more creativity, the better.
But yeah, so like the main thing is like you could there's like a lot of different kind of ways you can customize what your fighting style kind of entails. Are you going to be somebody who's going to want to be in the fray more, or keeping, you know, everything at an arm's reach, or are you going to be using your weapon like Brooke, or are you going to be using your words, or like what were your main thoughts?
Definitely keep them. I definitely want to keep my distance in all my fights, and you know, if my plans don't work, I want to talk my way out of it. I don't even want them to know that I was planning an attack. You know what I mean? like I want to be so sneaky that they either die or they're like, oh, this mole probably had nothing to do with it. You know, so like I'm always, so I don't know. I guess I don't know how to really
I get
word
you.
that, but I'm definitely not trying to fight. Like I'm definitely not trying to go swing my weapons to kill them. I'm trying to like blow up the island to eliminate them if I can.
To feed into like a sneaky part, like I would kind of recommend, you know, you mentioned earlier, like what if I get caught? A College of Eloquence bard would be something that I'm just scrolling through really quick to see if there's other newer. They add to this literally like every week, so there's some stuff that I haven't seen.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is like a living document that's like constantly being updated. So my main like suggestion, as far as so we don't have to do like a ton of this reading, is to probably focus on the College of Eloquence or the College of Swords. Either one of those would be really. You said you don't want to be in like up on the front line as much, so maybe not swords, but there's still other ways that you can kind of play that. But a part of a College of Eloquence bard is you get what's known as a silver tongue, and the thing is, if you're trying to like deceive. Or if you're trying to, or hold on, it's persuasion and deception. Specifically, if you were to roll a persuasion check or a deception check using your charisma, you cannot roll below a 10. Anything that's a 9 or lower, you just immediately treat as a 10. That. And the thing is as somebody who can very well be proficient in those things, you're adding your proficiency to it, and your charisma is already a +4. You could have a +6, meaning that the lowest you can roll is a 16, because you treat anything that's 9 or lower as a 10. And that's the dice result. You still add your modifier to that. So being able to like lie to anybody, and like, or try to like persuade anybody, and your baseline, the lowest you could possibly roll is a 16. That's ridiculously powerful.
Yeah, no, that sounds really good. And then I'm curious, so that was part of that silver tongue, right, that you were just talking about. So do I also get moot words, or do I only get one of the abilities?
Oh, you get both. Yeah, you get both.
Because I like that too. I cause a creature to doubt itself.
Yeah, that is hilarious. You're just gaslighting.
I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna be gaslighting all the like I said. My plans are either gonna work or they're gonna find me, and I'm gonna just talk my way out of it and just be like, nobody even got hurt. What are you talking about?
Instead of gaslight gatekeep girl boss, it's gaslight gatekeep dirt boss.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
That's hilarious.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of this. This is gonna work. This is gonna be a good build.
Yeah,
so do I also get dependable inspiration also
at 6th level? So you'd have to get like you'd have to climb up it. But yeah, so the good thing about that is like if you were to use your inspiration to try to buff somebody up, you would if they fail, they get to still hold on to that inspiration. It's not immediately used as it's a persisting resource, which is really great.
And I see universal speech, so like kind of going back to the Pluton stuff, you know, I could talk to and I could talk to the poneglyphs. I could probably speak the language. You know what I'm saying? I could hack in. So this is gonna be great.
Yeah, you could also kind of flavor it like, you know, Zoro had kind of heard the breath of all things and dodged the boulders that were. So you kind of hear the breath of all of the boulders that are around you while you're dirt tunneling through. Like, yeah. So this is a really cool, kind of. I love the College of Eloquence. There's also some like really high level stuff you get, but I like it. And then I think a part of it is that it also gets. I don't see it on here. They might have changed it, but unsettling words, which is like a really cool thing where you're able to. Yeah, they might have changed it, but I know in base rules, a College of Eloquence is able to. Basically, instead of you just using your bardic inspiration to buff your allies, you could use it to like you could just throw out like a diss and like debuff the enemies with that same d6, and it would pull from. So that's like a really interesting way of getting that done. There's a lot of more customization options though beyond just that. Like if we go back up to the top, I'm just gonna scroll up here back to the very top.
Like real quick, I see Dyer in the chat mentioning vicious mockery, and I just want to say I use that in Baldur's Gate all the time, so I know what that is.
One of the best, like an absolutely fantastic. It's for bards almost an auto include. There's also hideous laughter, which is like a really really great spell.
Or maybe that's it, or something like that. There's something close to that name in Baldur's Gate. I know what you're talking about though, because
I love bard spells. They're so kooky because you can have like there's like vicious mockery. You just insult somebody and they become like less capable. Exactly. Like they're just worse at the next thing they're gonna do.
You just make fun of them, and then they're not as good, which is
it
like
just
so funny to me.
Yeah, it reminds me of like if you've seen like the Dragon Ball Z movie, like Fusion Reborn, there's like Janemba, who's like the culmination of thousands of years of darkness and everyone who's ever had like malicious or dark thoughts on the planet, all culminating into one entity. But if you insult it, that's its only weakness. It's like invincible. They're just like throwing Super Saiyans at it and it's like nothing, like nothing's happening, but you just like tell it it's a fat baby and it starts like crying and getting weaker. And I'm just like, that's crazy, dude.
That is funny. Like that's why I like, not that I've done a whole lot of D&D, but I do like in Baldur's Gate, how it's just like, there'll be like this almighty wizard thing. I'm using random terms, not anyone specific, but like there'd be like these really strong things that could probably wipe me out in like one attack, but then I just like make fun of him or make him slip on ice or something like just super dumb, and then they're just incapable of fighting me. And it's just like, I love that whole idea.
Yeah, and then I'm just messing with some of the macros here just because you're a homie. I gave you a +1 war pick, which is a magical war pick, which would kind of entail the it's just better because you said you were wanting it to be made of liquor iron ore, which is really cool.
But remember, we changed it to a shovel.
Oh yeah, I'm literally
a war shovel.
I'll do that right now.
War shovel. I don't know what that would. I don't know what that would be. In RuneScape, the equivalent to this would be like probably the golden spade, but I don't think that would do me a whole lot of good in fighting.
Love it. But so the last like major customizing point of you getting your class as a bard is you get 3 entirely different skills. You can choose any 3 skills you want from any of the ones here that don't already have a check mark by them.
The skills on the left of your screen right there, are those the skills?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Let me see. So yeah, again, I would probably recommend. Oh, you can't see the check mark. Hold on, let me drag it sideways.
No, I can't see the check. I thought they were all available.
So you've already chosen to be proficient in stealth and perception, and you can't choose to be doubly proficient unless it's on an expertise skill. Like so you do get expertise eventually. I'm just waiting for the chat to catch up here.
What's my wisdom modifier again, or whatever it's called?
Your wisdom modifier is a +1. And so you can see like by some of these, like medicine is a wisdom based skill. You could see in the parentheses there that you have a 1 on that because it's just your wisdom modifier.
I got it. I don't think I have a choice here, or at least with one of them. I have to go animal handling because I can recruit while I'm digging. Yeah, like I'm a mink. Like I already need to.
Yeah, that's sick. That's absolutely sick. Yeah.
I need to work with them. Like, imagine me digging and I talk to all the other moles. Like, hey guys, I'm doing this thing, and whether I convince them or force them to help me or whatever, I just feel like I need to be involved with animals in some way. Oh man, that's the next. So how many do I get? 3?
Yeah, you get 2 more on top of this. And like I said, if you needed any like pointers, you could ask me like what any of these would like kind of be used for situationally. The one that is a bit of an outlier, and I'll clarify for you on that, is that Arcana is something that's like D&D 5e. Like you've probably seen that in Baldur's Gate, which is like how well you are versed in knowledge of like magic.
Oh.
It's not gonna be
like
magic.
Historical.
No, because history is its own thing. This would be like creations, like gadgets, gizmos. If you were to like try to like be aware of like what creations other people are using and how to foil them and things like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, because there's a lot of times in Baldur's Gate where like my guy will try like it'll give me the option to study the Arcana or like investigate the Arcana or something of a certain thing. So I kind of know what you're talking about.
But as far as what I would recommend, some of the best ones, you already have perception, which is extremely useful. There's also the intelligence-based counterpoint of that being investigation, which they're not the same. Perception is what you see at a glance, whereas investigation is what you see upon further, investigating, like actually digging into it. And so digging into like there's like that flavor. I don't know if you wanted to go with that, but there's also probably the single most useful one in my opinion, as somebody who doesn't have a great score in it already, just you being able to add your little buff to it, is insight. Because insight is cracked, and just being able to like if something seems fishy to you and you're not sure how to feel, but can I roll insight on that? Like how does that, what do I because there's things that you as a player are not going to necessarily be as savvy to, that your character might.
This is tough, man. This is the toughest part of this whole thing.
Is your skills. Yeah, it's
yes.
You want to, and the thing is you can't really redo these afterwards. So I wanted to make sure that you kind of had a good knowledgeable base about what you were going to be doing before you kind of got to this point.
I think I need investigation.
I
think I'm going to need that, because I'm just thinking I'm going to be digging underground. I'm going to need to be checking like, hey, am I gonna blow up the island by going this direction? Like, am I about to dig into a pocket of lava connected to the volcano? Like, I don't want to do that. So I'm just thinking that would be smart to avoid unnecessary catastrophe.
It would definitely be smart, yeah.
And then the other one, what would nature do?
Nature is gonna be kind of like what helps you, like if you were, so survival is like helping you like make sure you survive in the wild. Nature is just gonna be like you identifying like certain things about like maybe weather patterns or types of trees and things like that. So survival and nature are kind of like go hand in hand a bit, but one is more based off of just being generally knowledgeable, whereas one is gonna be practically knowledgeable.
Okay, I think I've narrowed it down to 2. What do you think between persuasion and deception?
You are charismatic, and I think that so with persuasion and deception, remember the lowest you can roll on the die is a 10. So the higher you have your, like right now you're at a 4 in both of those. So if you were to add a 2, then you would be able to, the lowest you would be able to roll is a 16 versus a 14, which is substantially better. That's 10 whole percent.
I guess I'm just thinking between persuasion and deception. I mean, this is almost just, I guess for the purposes of what I'm thinking, persuasion would be like convincing someone after I get caught that it wasn't really me, and then deception might be more like not even getting caught or assumed to be the culprit in the first place. Like,
well, deception would be like lying, whereas persuading would be like trying to convince them like of,
got it.
like, so it's like, that's the thing, is like, if you're just straight lying to someone, like, you, like, people make the argument a lot that like, what if I'm persuading them to believe a lie? I'm like, that's not persuasion, that's deception, you know? Like,
yeah, give me deception. I want deception instead. I think that's better for
excellent.
this purpose.
Yeah, that plays, like I said, it goes really well in with your silver tongue. So that is that is kind of the basics to and I could add a little bit more like onto the character sheet about your feats and things like that. But like, this is basically like all you kind of need to know getting into. I could add a lot more about like the subclass of bard that you are, but at a level 1 you don't get much. Other than that, like, it would be like picking spells and things like that. So we don't have to look at the massively long list of spells and like fight through that for like all of the things that you would want for your character. But just as like a little like trick or gimmick or like a go-to, like, this is what my guy does, you know, like a type of deal, what would you think would be like your number one, like, if you were to like actually start a fight and you're not able to like get out of the fight, what would kind of like be your like number one go-to like deal? You know what I mean?
I mean, if I was like in a fight and I had to actually do the fight and I didn't have my pre-planned setup, you know, because that's probably what I would always want to do is, you know, I would want to do mole things like, you know, dig underground and make explosions pop up from under them or whatever. But if I was in a fight and I just had to straight up like do something, I'm probably doing what like Miss Merry Christmas was doing. You know what I mean? I'm probably digging under them, grabbing their feet and just dragging them around. You know what I mean? Like, and Willow Dreams, that I was about to say, like, by digging underground, I can probably get a lot of like sucker punches in that they weren't ready for. Like, you know, hitting them in the balls or something like that would, like, they just wouldn't be ready, you know, never.
No, you're right. That's hilarious, actually.
And I guess like something anecdotally that I'd be thinking about a lot is like, I would always want to have explosives with me, or ideally I would get a devil fruit that would let me capitalize on, you know, on the holes I'm creating.
Yeah, I think that would be really interesting. Like, it could be really fun. You could like do like proximity ones that that kind of like blow up if somebody like walks down the wrong tunnel, if you're trying to like set up like little traps and like things like that. Or you could have like remote detonating ones where you could like just kind of like set it off at like, so that's like super cool if you were to like, and that fits like the demolition theme. Like if you were to like be like a construction worker, like the dirt boss, like have a little hard hat. But if you have a hard hat, how are people going to be able to see your afro, brother?
That's true. Well, I mean, hold on, give me ones. Because I was thinking about that. I mean, I definitely need an afro, but I mean, if you think about it, like Miss Merry Christmas had an afro, but she also had like the bandana thing on, like that kind of kept the afro like tucked backward. You know what I'm saying? So like, I mean, I can have the hat. It's just gonna get smushed down. I'm gonna look like Kuma, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Like my hair will just be. I'll have an afro that's just mushed into one side, kind of. Well, I guess I am curious. Do I like. How does, and at least the way that you guys do D&D, how does getting a devil fruit work?
So typically, like, I am a kind of a person who likes to start at lower levels, and so if you're gonna have a devil fruit at a lower level, I'd ideally prefer it be like something that you're not as good with, or something that's less mechanically impactful or more utility. But if you're somebody who waits and gets a devil fruit like throughout the course of the campaign, and you like really like fight for it and earn it, like if you're like a teach individual and you'll, you know, kill anybody and like do whatever,
that's
and you've gotten like to gather the knowledge, the esoteric, like, you know, awareness of like what your kind of devil fruit that you're pursuing is, and you find the perfect one and you're already aware, and like, so you might be a little bit better at it, but that would be something that would happen down the line, right?
Got it. Well,
but if you were to go for a devil fruit, like which one would you ideally go for? That's a great question.
I was gonna say, if I was in this campaign, I would be like Blackbeard, where I'm literally, my first step would be getting a certain fruit, so that then I can take over. Because if I can get a certain fruit, everyone's cooked, and it's a Kainu's fruit. Absolutely no
Brother.
question. There's no
Oh
other
my
fruit that
God.
if I'm a mole mink, the only fruit I want is akainus because I'm going to be digging near lava. I can just merge with the lava, and then like I said, I can just go make holes like under. I can basically just be Pluton at that point, right? Like I can go dig holes under an island and then just blast my lava from underneath it and just make it all erupt, and then they don't even know I'm there, you know, like. That's my I'm on a teach like mission where I'm literally I'm my first thing I'm probably gonna do is assuming like I'm like isekai into the current One Piece world or something. First thing I'm doing is becoming a marine, getting really cozy with a kainu, and then he's getting cooked. He won't be ready for it. All right, like
That is crazy.
Because Oda also said that a kainu would find the One Piece in a year, and I think part of it is his devil fruit because he can like surf through the planet. You know what I'm? Because there's lava like under
this
the
goes
planet.
to what was that? Was it Lafro Tale 2? Like that video where you were talking about like potentially like an island whale existing underneath the tectonic plates and like swimming in the magma of the earth or something like or of the planet.
Yeah, I mean, there is lava in the center of the earth, you know, and that's why I think Akainu could be part of it. Is like. For anyone else, it's impossible to go there, but Akainu is the one dude who could like dip in a volcano and just go straight and go find it at least, right?
That's insane, brother. Like I kind of love that though, and it's really interesting as well to think about like because I know there's a lot of theories. I'm looking at you, Willa Dreams, in the chat. That's a homie right there. But like there's a hollow Earth theory around like One Piece. Like, what if you're able to find like an entire another civilization down there, or like harness a Dyson sphere type of like eternal flame from the inside of the. This is cracked, bro. This is why. If Dak Sake was a One Piece character, he would find the One Piece in a year. Like just like what Oda said about Akainu. Like that's insane. Man.
I appreciate that's. I mean, that's what I've been like. Because I think there's a good chance that Pluton straight up, like, not that it has Akainu's powers, but I legitimately think that the real Pluton is going to have something similar. Like, it could just be that it is able to withstand lava, right? That it can just swim through it. And that's why it's a ship. It doesn't float on water, it floats on lava or something. So, like, there's definitely going to be a connection there in why lava is so important, why, like, digging through the ground's important, Pluton and all that. So that's like I said, I'm on a Blackbeard-esque mission for that Logia, right? Akainu's got to watch his back.
That's hilarious, and I honestly love that. That's like such a crazy. So, just to recap, what we've got set up for you is that you would be a harmonica playing mole mink bard with the magu magu fruit. And you would, I'm assuming you're definitely gonna have an afro though, right? Like,
oh, absolutely, 100%. Miss Merry Christmas had one, which is like,
wielding a shovel, like a war shovel, a golden spade, if you would, setting up bombs. Well, it could be liquor iron ore, which is like a ki tetsu, literally means like gold iron. So yeah, like and setting up bombs and traps and lying your way. And deceiving your way through this is such an interesting character. Dill, I'm glad you're here. I know Ragnar's been in the chat too. So if you guys end up fighting this character, forget everything you've heard in the stream. But I might throw this against my Scarlet Pirates or something like that. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if you did encounter me, I would just gaslight the shit out of you. You wouldn't even know. Yeah, you would be thinking you're encroaching on my territory if you found me. You know, I would just immediately, like, you know, Brooke. Going back to like the bard thing, I actually talked about this in my last video a little bit. You know, Brooke like specifically said that. Like the powers that he's granted that let him exist on this world, let him like bewitch people's senses and affect their emotions and stuff. And I'm like, that is exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make you have no idea what's going on. You're gonna meet me and be like, "Hey, sir, what are you doing here?" And then 2 seconds later, you're gonna be like, "Damn, I shouldn't have bothered that guy. Like, my bad." That's the idea.
I love that. So if aside from acquiring a devil fruit through the most Blackbeard methods, which is hilarious,
Yes.
by the way, like what would you think or I'll get to that in just a second. So if you said you would join like the Marines to try to accomplish that.
Yeah, I would definitely join the Marines, and I would be like Blackbeard, where I'm like, you're gonna think I'm a legit member, but I probably wouldn't take like any admiral positions or anything, because then I'd be like, the government would be keeping it too close of an eye on me. So I'd be like Garp, and I would try to get to like top of the vice admiral positions, and maybe like to the point where Akainu's like, hey man, you should probably be an admiral. Like we really need someone. And then I'd be like, well, let's talk about it. And then in that one-on-one meeting, he's dying. That's what I would probably do. And then everyone would be like,
crazy.
whoa, how did he die? And then they're not gonna know it's me because I'm gonna like deceive them. No. I'm like, they force fed me the fruit. It wasn't me.
That's crazy, bro. Like I kind of love that though. And so as a Marine, let's go back to your origins though of your character. Did you have like specifically a spot that you were wanting to come from, like the North Blue, which is my favorite, the strongest sea, or if you're wanting to come from the East Blue or somewhere on the Grand Line, since there is that magnetic, kind of pull to the islands on the Grand Line, is that like, were you spawned in the tunnels that the dirt boss, like in between Alabasta and where was it, like St. Poplar or something?
The island is St. Poplar a place in One Piece? That sounds like familiar, but
yeah, it's where it's the black market is there where Frankie got the Atom Wood.
Yep, you're right. That's so cool. It's called Saint Poplar, like for the tree. That's so cool. And it's Saint, and like Adam and Eve. Yo, that's actually the Adam tree, the Eve tree, Saint Poplar. Yeah, oh man, that's crazy.
We're cooking here.
I can't remember. So you're basically just asking what's the, or where am I coming from? I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to be, I don't know if we even have names for these islands. I just think we know that they exist somewhere. But like, I want to be from an island in the Calm Belt, which I think the only one we know of is Amazon Lily. I don't know if we know another one.
Impel Down is technically in a Calm Belt as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I could even, if that would even logistically work to be born there.
You could be from underneath it, who knows? Well, you could be from level 7, like.
I'm gonna see if I can find another one other than those two. It definitely can't be Amazon Lily. It's just
we don't know. We don't know where Ruskaina was. I think I don't know if that was in a Calm Belt.
Oh, but that might work. Maybe that should be it.
A bunch of big old dudes, a bunch of big old boys there. Yep. So yeah, I think that would be really cool if you were from like Ruskaina.
Ruskaina. All right, so I'm from Ruskaina, but here's the idea of why. Well, I'm from there because obviously, I mean, they're all other big creatures already, right? Like giant animals. So like, even though I'm a mole mink, it just kind of fits aesthetically. But the main thing is that by virtue of being in the Calm Belt, I can't like get on a ship and leave, right? But because I'm a mole mink, I could dig and get out, right? I had to dig in order to escape my island. And that's why I'm so good at digging now, is that I was able to straight up dig my way under the sea. So like, it's already confirmed that I can do it, I guess is what I'm getting at. Like,
that's really
in order
cool.
for me to leave there, I'm like a really good mole too, because like, I'm sure like digging through the dirt's probably easy, but once you get to like the bedrock and whatever else is down there, you know what I'm saying? So I've already proven myself, is why I'm from Ruskaina. Not only are there giant animals, but I also was able to dig out. So I'm prepared.
That's crazy. Yeah, I like that a lot. And I'm trying to remember like other stuff about Ruskaina, because it doesn't have like 64 weather seasons. Like it's like
something like that. It changes every couple weeks or something like that, I think. But another funny thing there is that I guess we'd have to like talk about the timeline of things. So I don't know if this would really make sense or not. But what I would like to do is basically I overheard Luffy and Rayleigh talking about Akainu, and that's how I know that the fruit exists and that he's the guy I need to go get it from. Yeah, you were at
Sabaody as just like a dude, and then you're like, I gotta recruit for the Marines, like like.
well, no.
Oh no! Oh yeah. At Ruskaina. Okay, right. So this would be this is your post time skip.
Yeah, so maybe halfway through the time skip, I overheard Luffy like being sad about Akainu enough and I was like, you know what? For one thing, I want to take this guy out, and second, I need those powers. Like it was that was like my origin story was like listening to Luffy cry about Ace dying, and that started my anti-Akainu agenda.
Oh my goodness. There's so much here to unpack. I love it. I also want to shout out to Will of Dreams who said Saint Holy Moly, which is like that is hilarious.
Oh, that's my guy's name. Let's make that the name. Make that
my
the
goodness.
Name. Make
Saint
that
Holy Moly. Let's go.
Because like I'm gonna be working closely with the Kainu, so like having a saint name would be kind of just a cool, like it's just like a celestial dragon thing, but it could also be a funny double entendre where it's like I'm not a saint at all, like I'm trying to kill a Kainu the whole time, and so I love that. I love that. Saint Holy Moly, that's the name. Will of Dreams, thank you.
He's gonna get to god knighthood and have saint like like all the rest of the Gorosei, or like all the rest of the celestial dragons working his way up through the. That's crazy.
I got the name Saint even before I was accepted. It's just like it's a sign.
I think it'd also be really funny because like there's a little bit of a xenophobia in the Marines, is if you were like lie and gaslight to all of your superior officers and be like, no, I'm not a mink, I'm a human, I just have a lot of hair. Like
I have a mole fruit. Like I just they're like, well, doesn't Miss Merry Christmas have it? And I'm like, oh,
who?
It's a
I don't know who
specific,
that. Yeah, what?
It's a specific model. It's not. She has the regular bum ass. Also. Yeah, there's kind of, just because I was just looking into it, it's called the 48 season island, or that's like the type of island it is. It has 48 seasons a year, apparently.
That's a lot. Yeah, I figured it was much. Oh, Kev, there's a Kev DOG. There's another person who we call Kev. It's Henry Cavill there in the chat. We call his name's Kevin, like in like 4 different Discords, even though that's not even his actual name. We just call him Kev. So that's what Dill was referring to. But yeah, Saint Holy Moly is hilarious, and I love that.
Big fan.
So once you'd want to be as close to like Admiral Hood as you were thinking. What like C do you think, like once you became established in the Marines, would you be like maybe positioned to, or we would want to lobby to be positioned into? Because it kind of is like on the Grand Line or New World most of the time. Like a post time skip, I know New World is where the new G1 base is, so you'd want to be probably in the New World.
Well, yeah, I would have to be, because I was going to say Saba Odi, because I would be like close and it's just whatever. It's like a cool island. But actually, because they're like a mangrove forest, I wouldn't be able to really dig under the island like I could other islands. So I definitely. You're
at the base of the red line and you could just dig straight through that thing, right?
Well, but the mangroves, like mangrove trees, like there's water. Like it's not like a normal island underneath Saba Odi. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't dig there, is all I'm getting.
No,
like
but
I would have to ride a ship away from Saba Odi.
Well, I mean, if you look at Saba Odi, like it's literally like with it, like look at the like right leading up to the Reverie. I forget what episode it is, like 960 something, but like leading up to the Reverie, it's literally in the shadow of the, like it's so close to the red line. Saba Odi's like right there. So it wouldn't be far.
I would need a ship though. Like I wouldn't be able to just. I feel like I nerf myself not being on solid land, because like like I said, the mangroves are like just not, they're weird, they're different.
What if you just lived inside the red line in between Saba Odi and the New World? Like like
I don't know if I can dig through the red line. That's the only thing.
I'm sure, brother. Like I don't know, but
only Morley has, which by the way, Morley's name is almost Moly, by the way, so just,
that's hilarious.
And like and R's and L's are like interchangeable, so it almost is like Molly or like Molly, I guess. But no,
that's super interesting. Or you could be like on one of the first islands, like because there was Risky Red Island, Punk Hazard, and then there was another one that Oda was like, I forget what it was called, Vera.
Was that the other one?
There were like, remember. I'm pretty sure it was called Vera, because then when he put out like volume 4 billion, he's like, will it be Vera? And none of us had ever heard of it before. And they're like, oh, he mentioned it like way back then. And then also the lightning one, whatever it's called, Raijin Island.
Right. So it was Raijin Island. Was Vera the third one?
I think it was. And then Risky Red. And then they ended up going to Punk Hazard instead, right?
Right.
I could be wrong. I don't, Vera might have been like referred to like in paradise somewhere.
Yeah, I thought Vera would like. I thought they saw like they found like a piece of paper that mentioned Vera. Not that they were like. I don't think they were given the option to go there. If that makes sense. I think they just like know it exists.
But
I'm
yeah,
trying
so
to figure out what that third island is because that was just bothering me so much.
I know it was Raijin, Risky Red, and then like Punk Hazard.
Risky Red.
Yeah, Risky Red was like I'm almost positive that's what it was called.
Oh, so Risky Red is that? Hold on. Okay, Risky Red. I'm looking for like a picture of. I don't think we ever got one.
We never got one. No, it was just somewhere where they mentioned. Yeah, they mentioned that that's one of the only 3 places that the New World Post could like hit on, and so they would have to be at one of these 3 islands or something like that. And so we never went to Raijin Island either. We just saw that lady selling umbrellas in Eau Rouge, like in that like little tiny panel, like which I know you're familiar with. I've seen it in your videos, but like we never actually see like a close up of like Raijin Island either. We just gotta see it from a distance. But I don't even think we got an image of Risky Red, but it was definitely one of the ones that was named. And we know that it is extremely close to the red line upon surfacing in the New World. So maybe that would be like a place you kind of stay, or like around that area. And I mean, like, there's also like Food Volton was like a Whitebeard territory in the New World that I think Shanks ended up having to go and settle because after the like post time skip, which would be the time frame that you've kind of established, all of Whitebeard's territories would be up for grabs. There's a bunch of Yonko just like trying to fill these power gaps, so there would have to be some marine presence there as well, right?
I think so. Hold on I have figured out so much from you mentioning Risky Red that I'm on a full blown search. You're
down the mole hole. No, that sounds weird.
yeah. So it's hold on. So he mentioned Risky Red Island, Raijin Island, and Mystria Island.
Mystria?
Yeah. Mystria Island.
That sounds freaking cool, actually. Like,
or Mystoria.
Mystoria. Okay, yeah, Mystoria. Yeah, okay. I've heard of it. I just forgot about that. Like, and it's so crazy. Like,
but Punk Hazard is that a 4th option? Okay, you know what I'm.
Yeah, so it's a 4th option, but it wasn't like I can't remember. I'm gonna have to rewatch through Punk Hazard now.
Yeah, some Smoker saying it right here. I came here on the assumption that Straw Hat would choose the path to Raijin Island where the magnetic field is most unstable, but to think he would follow an entirely different route from these 3. So he didn't go to any of those 3. Got it. Okay, so normally you go to Risky Red, Raijin, or Mystoria. I gotta be from Mystoria.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, so there's because like kind of like you were saying, like there's got to be a lot of marine presence. It's really close to the new marine ford.
Because of your electro, though, you might do pretty well in Raijin Island.
Oh, that's true. Well, yeah, I guess my main reason for not wanting to be there is there's probably not a whole lot going on. You know, it's probably like nothing. Also, I just now noticed this in where Smoker is talking about Punk Hazard. They're like straight up burning this guy alive in the background. I didn't even notice this. They're like they have someone on their ship and he's tied up and they're just burning him alive. That's so crazy.
And maybe he's Lunarian. Like, no, I don't know. No, I'm kidding.
It looks like it's a pirate that Smoker caught. I'm just oh my god,
that's insane.
And Tashiki's over there telling them to stop. All right, that's cool. That's cool.
At least somebody on that ship has a conscience. But yeah, like that's so. We've got your origins, we've got your faction, we've got your class and your lineage and things like that. And I think it's really interesting, like all of the concepts that we've built, and we've kind of like done a little bit of like deep diving into some of the more esoteric nooks and crannies that Oda's kind of left throughout the 1,000+ chapters of One Piece and whatnot. The only other question that I had to kind of go over, and we could talk about like maybe future like chapter predictions if you're still down to hang afterwards, but I have to ask Dak, like what is your character's dream in the world of One Piece?
Oh man, I mean, I can't choose being Pirate King because that would just be anticlimactic, or like not anticlimactic, but like I can't duplicate it. Luffy's got that.
But maybe your goal is, and that's why you want the magma fruit, is a journey to the center of the earth.
No, I know what it is. My dream is to become Pluton.
Wow, that's cracked. So
that's my dream.
That is amazing.
Because we already know like there's blueprints to make the counter at least, but who knows? Maybe the counter's like a second one. We don't, whatever it is, right? So either way, and I've already talked about like how Pluton may be like a mole and robot kind of combination, like a cyborg mole type thing. So that's my goal, to become Pluton. That is my I want to become the next iteration.
Dude, of it. Can you imagine if you get the magma fruit and you're also like a mink, and then you. What if you get like some like Vegapunk like cybernetic like if you become like a Frankie cyborg mole like that has the magma fruit, and like you're just like that is I don't know if you were going for that route, but like being a cyborg like down the line would be so cracked as well.
Yeah, like I mean maybe I can go get a Kainu's fruit and then I'd be like a traitor to the government in a way, kind of like Kuma was to not really a traitor. I mean, he's by being born, unfortunately, he was a traitor, which like sounds so terrible to say, but like he was a buccaneer, so like they already didn't like him. So since Kuma did that, or like he became like an enemy, but then worked with Vegapunk, like made a deal. That's probably what'll happen to me. I'll go kill a Kainu, be like one of the most wanted people. I'll go talk to Vegapunk. Vegapunk will be like, I didn't really like that guy anyway. Like I'm down to help you out. And then they'll probably find it out, and they'll talk to me like, hey man, we can't, we can't do this. Like Vegapunk can't. Like you gotta, you gotta make an agreement. But I'll probably like turn down the agreement, and then that'll start the war. But
that would be so crazy though. And yeah, Dill was like, so Molly has info on Pluton, but yeah, with the subclass that he picked, the eloquence, and getting like basically the voice of all things, like he'd be able to speak to poneglyphs. He could absolutely have information from, especially since like Luffy was already aware of Pluton. Rayleigh knows the whole freaking story, and he overheard like a conversation with Luffy and Rayleigh on Ruskaina. This is crazy.
Exactly. Like I could have heard of Pluton from Luffy and Rayleigh. That's probably where I first heard of it. That's probably like I didn't know everything. And then I probably heard from them that like maybe Frankie knows about it, or like that there's like basically not because Luffy wouldn't have known where it is yet, but maybe I could have either heard that the Alabasta like Pluton stuff was happening in Alabasta, so maybe I go there and I can hear the voice of all things from the poneglyph or something to guide me. Or I could just like I'm doing a lot of like stealth type things with this build already. What if I just go dig, under Water 7 or something, and I'm just like underneath Frankie's, like, well, at the timing I'm talking about, he wouldn't be in Water 7 anymore, but he'd go to Baltimore, wherever Frankie's at, and I can just like lay low, like just eavesdrop the whole time. So or just befriending Frankie and getting information on Pluton is probably like impossible to imagine, because that's just like a Straw Hat thing. But I would probably also just like follow the Straw Hats around because like I would have an inkling of the info, and I could be like Caribou and then just get the Pluton info that way.
Yeah, so, that's pretty crazy. I think so. If you were to climb up, you would obviously like to the ranks of like being a Marine. You would obviously have like by the time you got to vice captain or vice admiral, you'd have hockey, because Oda confirmed all vice admirals and above have hockey. Do you think you would get like the 6 powers?
Oh yeah. Oh 100%. I would. I mean, well, do I have enough strength, or I have a high enough dexterity score? I see that right there. It said six powers adept below.
Yeah. So you would have Doriki, like whatever your Doriki level would be. You remember in Eni's lobby they were measuring like with that but we never really talked about that again. But yeah, like it's so crazy, like all of the different like additional powers that are in One Piece as well. So I think that would be pretty cool. Having like some of the 6 powers, which one do you think you would specialize in? You could do like with your claws, like a claw pistol, or like a tempest slash with your shovel or something. Like I don't know.
Give me one. I'm gonna look up the 6 powers real quick.
So there's Iron Body. Yeah, there's Iron Body, Finger Pistol, Tempest Kick, the Paper Technique, and Shave, and Skywalk. Like, I think I got them all.
I would probably specialize in what's Shigan, right? That's the Finger Pistol. I would probably do that one, but I feel like for the memes, I would need to be able to do Skywalk. Like it would just be so funny because like I'm a ground-based fighter, and then I go up. It's like I can do everything but being on land. You know what I mean?
Hilarious.
Like I can above and below only.
I thought it'd be so cool if you flavored it as like I'm digging through the sky,
Oh yeah. So I use my claws to do it though, because I can because you know how Zoro uses his swords to hit the air and he bounces off of it. It's the same thing where I just move my claws in like a breaststroke formation. I don't really know. I don't know
the front
I'm not
crawl.
a good swimmer.
The front crawl.
I just wave it in front of me and it just creates a big boost of air to keep me flying. Yeah,
that's
for sure.
Crazy. Yeah, I kind of love that. That is honestly so cool. I'm also thinking of what was Kuro, and he had the cat claws, and he was doing his you could be pretty good at Shave, and you could kind of just start shadow stepping around and slashing wildly with your mole claws,
the cat out of the bag technique. That's what it was called, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The mole out of the hole technique.
Oh my god! And when you hit people with your shovel, it could just be called whack-a-mole.
No, real talk. I will so the cat out of the bag technique, real talk. I will have a mole out of the hole technique where I use my airwalk to fly out of the hole super fast, so they weren't ready for it. You know what I'm saying? So I can just fly out. For
this
sure,
is gold.
Definitely doing that.
This is gold. I'm loving this.
And the fact mole and hole rhyme, just I need that ability. There's no way I'm avoiding that.
See, I knew that you would be ridiculously good at kind of crafting this kind of stuff, just because I've been vibing with your theories for over a year, over I think a year and a half now. I don't know. It's been it's been close to that, but not quite. But it's been really interesting, kind of seeing your theories and your channel and your agendas evolve, and what has stayed the same. And I'm definitely still on board with Afro Gang and Mole Gang, and I knew. Of some of the creators within the scene, I figured you would definitely be one of the best I could think of to come up with a really interesting, really flavorful Dungeons and Dragons One Piece 5e character. And I mean, definitely you, and then someone like Par, he might build like the whole Mihawk as a sword, or Zoro as a plant, or Vanderdecken's a mushroom type of agendas. It's that kind of it's not quite tinfoil, but it's just really getting down and into all of the details that some people overlook. I knew you would like a really interesting character. I think we have a really fantastic character here.
Well, I really appreciate that, man. This is my first time ever making a D&D character, so I mean it means a lot that you like it. And I also see Dill down there saying I'm hating this, with the knowledge that Group 2 has to face him. So that means I did something right. I must have picked some good things. So
oh my goodness, that is hilarious.
I can't wait, and I'm just gonna call it now. Whenever it's not like I have insider info. I'm just making a random call here. If you ever get Par on for one of these, he is definitely gonna pick Hino Kobito for his race. 100%.
Yeah, he's gonna be a mushroom guy. Ragnar actually built a mushroom character for another campaign that he was in, and it's just so funny. Ragnar, I gotta shout it out to him because he has come up with some of the most interesting characters. Ragnar, and he's inspired a lot of other people to make some crazy characters in the TLA kind of OPD&D scene. But they're Dill has a character who's a fish man, who's he's half fish man, half giant, so he's a Wotan, and the fish man half of him is specifically a kung fu dugong. And,
oh my god, that's awesome.
And so he's a giant, dugong. And then there's also I remember there was a character that Ragnar built who was part mink, part fishman, who used life return to like make like wings basically that he could like flap. Wow. And like so he was like land, sea, and sky, like all terrain, like but like
that's wild.
There's so many different like cool concepts. I remember Captain Scarlet, you know, from my crew, Balenci, who plays Captain Scarlet, had another character that was a human, but they were wielding a sword that ate the leprechaun fruit. So it was like a sword with that could be part human and also had like an Irish accent or something like that. Like
that's all it does is have the Irish, like I don't even know what it would make it a short sword, I guess, compared to the normal length. It's like I don't know what else.
But there's just like so many cool random like ideas that, you know, Oda has set up some really crazy parameters for us to kind of just bounce off the walls and like really cook on all of. And so I love this type of thing. I hope that a lot of the chat has enjoyed the stream, and we've just been kind of cooking and just bouncing little ideas, and just there's so many little intricate details, and like I said, all the nooks and crannies that exist in One Piece that we can kind of like, he's left a lot of room for creativity. And that's why I love doing this. I love like people who like are really like I've seen Maze, like that guy who I mentioned earlier who had the Tontada. Dude has made like 30 different characters and like cooking up devil fruits and cool different like fighting styles and like all this other, like it's just the flavor is like something that I love. I'm a huge fan of One Piece, huge fan of D&D, and this kind of just merges like two of the things that I love the most in this world, and it's so fun. So I've had a blast. And I really appreciate you coming on. Like I said, first YouTube subscriber on my channel ever, and now we're over 100. So that's crazy. I did.
That's big time.
It's been like over a year since I like kind of like joined your Discord, which was one of the first that I ever joined whenever I was like coming out of my shell and like getting into the community. And it's crazy because it's like a year ago, if someone was to tell me that I was gonna have Dak on my channel and like I'm gonna have this is a teaser for the next one, but I'm gonna have King Recon on probably the next break week that I do, and like two of the most influential individuals in getting me into the One Piece community, and out of just lurking and into the Discords and getting into content creation and doing everything that I've done with the last arc, and just believing that I could do things on my own channel as well. So it's just crazy surreal that I like literally if you told me a year ago that I'd be doing what I'm doing now, I would have said you're lying, but this is crazy. So I really do appreciate it. Yeah,
I mean, like literally, like not even joking at all. You know what I mean? It's like the first stream, or well, I mean, you've done obviously a lot of other stuff, but this is like the beginning of this thing. So, so yeah, dude, I'm pumped for you. I mean, everyone, if y'all haven't subscribed to Vex already, do it. I mean, major shout out to the chat for getting us over 100. Was like 12 subs just in the one stream, which is amazing.
Yeah, majorly appreciated, and like still gonna be over on the last arc. I'm taking a break right now to focus on getting my own stuff pretty polished and established and whatnot. So I really appreciate your time today, Dak. And Kev, I'll get you on one of these. We can cook a character for you as well. Like I see you in the chat vibe, and yeah.
If you give Kev some time to cook, he's gonna have some great ideas. Definitely get Kev on. I mean,
yeah,
go ahead. Hopefully you get. I was gonna say, hopefully you start getting all sorts of creators on here. I feel like this is like a really cool way to, like, I mean, it's just fun in general, but I feel like also it's literally like if we were in One Piece, what would we be like? You know what I'm saying? Or kind of. And so I think getting like other creators on here to do this is just like a cool insight into how they see One Piece, or maybe like strategically how they see One Piece. Like I can't believe no one in One Piece has done this yet. Like this, if I was there, I would totally be dominating using this set of strategies, Yeah. And it's just cool because like in One Piece, there are a bunch of ways to get to the top, and what the top is dependent on your goals and all that. So it's like everyone's going to have a different way to talk about it. Cause kind of like you said, like One Piece, it's such like there's so much information. It's such like a greatly like worldly built story, like great world building. And it's like, so you're able to do things like this, and pretty much everyone's going to have a different answer, right? Like no one's like, probably nobody, like the mole mink is obviously pretty specific to me, but like, even if it wasn't, like no one's probably going to pick that specific mink, at least for like a long time. And like, someone's probably like I said, Par is probably going to take Kiko no Bito, whatever it was called. Like, probably very few people will do that one. So this is just like such a great way to get like kind of inside people's like One Piece minds, you know. And so this is a great series idea. I think you're gonna get a lot of great creators on here for this. This was great for sure.
I appreciate it. Yeah. As soon as I thought about it, I was just like, oh man, yeah, I haven't seen this done before. And I thought it would be a really cool way of picking the brains of some of the, you know, the connections that the people who are pillars in the community, like yourself and like, you know, King Recon. I've already talked to JB. I'm going to get Joy Boy Theories on here. I want to get Coach on next though. And then I've also got Preach, who's going to be coming on. If there's any other creators that, you know, you guys in the chat are thinking that, you know, you want to see on here, you know, get in their chats and spam the crap out of them and tell them, hey, come on vexyz. No, be respectful. But no, let me know in the comments.
Be respectful, but maybe.
Yeah, but let me know in the comments, and I'll do what I can to reach out to them. I've really enjoyed my time this past year being in the community, and like I said, I've kept a pretty close ear to the ground and like had a lot of like ideas I've been cooking up. This is something I've been trying to put together for a while, and I just thought that it would be a really cool idea of like me, you know, making sure that it's like me telling a little bit of my origin story while also cooking with, you know, like, and having a cool concept, because like I said, Dak was where it kind of all started for me in the community. One of the first Discords that I joined, my first YouTube subscriber ever and stuff like that. So I had to get him on as my first like collab, and Coach is one of the main reasons why I like actually thought I could get into content creation. So he's going to be my second guest, and we're going to schedule that
Major
one
goat. Absolutely
soon. I don't have
all-time goats.
Yeah, I don't have like a regular upload schedule that I'm going to be or like stream schedule that I'm going to be doing for these, just because the guests that I'm going to be getting on are pretty, you know, busy, and I'm just going to have to be working kind of shooting for break weeks for the most part, because that's when, you know, individuals are going to have more time, especially myself, and, you know, the individuals much larger channels than me. So I'm going to be shooting for next break week where I can get Coach on here and we'll do kind of the same spiel. But it's something I've been trying to do for a while, and I'm super glad that, you know, I had you on as my first guest. I knew you were going to cook something very special, and it's very exciting. And this also kind of like, this is an NPC I can kind of put together and throw at my other crews. So this is pretty fun. If you guys want to see maybe eventually the Scarlet Pirates taking on Saint Holy Moly over here, then it may happen eventually. Make sure you check out the Scarlet Pirates playlist, link in the description. Get caught up, because we're about to have an SBS, and we love to see you all there in the chat as well. You can ask kind of any questions you want, because we do these like I said, we get into the flavor and the nitty gritty and all of the like nooks and crannies of things and whatnot. And we try to like really flesh it out. My crew is peeling their way through the North Blue, which we don't really know much about the North Blue, except we really do. It's just a bunch of little scattered things that I make connections and then build a world there. And so there's a lot of room for I get to make my whole entire like blue in the One Piece world. And obviously it's not like
that's pretty dope
Oda's vision, but you know, it's cool for me to be able to kind of do that. Mm-hmm. So I'm super excited that I'm getting this kind of set up, and next break week, we're hoping to get Coach on, like I was saying. I'm gonna like I said, let me know in the comments, and if you're watching this in the future or in the chat right now, and I can get I could try and get in touch with a couple other creators. But you can, it's gonna mean the world to me if I start to see this kind of see some love, and that kind of helps all of the other wonderful One Piece D&D groups in the greater TLA community start to get some love as well. Because I really do have a lot of love for Group 3 over on Dire Regulus's channel. Shout out to Henry Cable in the chat. You know, not Kev DOG, but the other Kev, who has been doing he's been doing such a great job with that, and they're in the West Blue, and so they kind of, there's like, you know, like a lot of interesting things that have happened there in their campaign. And then also, like, you know, Group Cody 8, like which we're on hiatus right now. It's really interesting seeing like all of the different, and we're actually on the Grand Line at in that campaign. So there's a lot of different like really cool like interesting ways that you could see people build their character concepts, and different kind of like building an entire island and building an entire like devil fruit and stuff like that. It's super fun within the like what the world that Oda has set up for us, and It's really interesting because like I kind of get to like my campaigns are based 24 years in the past. So this is right after Roger's execution.
Oh, awesome.
This is at the dawn of the like golden age of piracy, which I think is such a crazy because we don't know too much about that time period, but we know enough for me to get creative about it, right? And so it's like something you can kind of do.
That's the right time to do it.
Yeah, you can kind of do anything you want. Like I couldn't really do like a Void Century campaign because we really don't know enough. But you know, like
that'll be fun when we can do that though.
Yeah, when we do get there. But yeah, I guess you know, we can close it out in about 15 minutes. I've been rambling a bit, but I did want to ask you maybe if you had a little bit more time, is like what are your thoughts on I'm in your lives pretty much every week, so I know, but let the chat know, like kind of what are your thoughts for like 1110 and like what's going on with recent events in the manga.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, Oda's cooking on like the highest level. You know, I mean, you guys have probably heard it from everyone at this point, but you know, like this message is quite literally gonna change the whole story. You know, like I think the way that Hidden put it in his one video, I thought was really good. It's like all the theories we've been putting together, you know, for years, for 26 plus years or whatever, we've been waiting for pretty much this moment. The Void Century has been waiting 800 years for this moment. That's kind of what I was talking about at the beginning of my video, is like, you know, what we're about to see in the manga is literally what the Ancient Kingdom was hoping for. Like this, the reason they sent the poneglyphs forward, the reason why Joy Boy said he's going to return, all those different things, that is literally what's happening. We have Joy Boy holding off the Gorosei so that information can be finally shared with the whole world. Like this is, it's impossible to overstate that this is like the, you know, the craziest thing we've probably seen ever. But
yeah, I thought it was going to be hard to beat what was it, 1065, 1066, whenever we got like Gorosei names and like we saw like Emu like and the Gorosei interacting and or 1086. Yeah, so I thought it was going to be really hard to beat that. But you're right, this is potentially bigger than that. This is huge. And I've heard a lot of theories. Like somebody was like, what if this is just a big bait and switch? And if he's not actually saying anything, he's just drawing them out for 10 minutes straight so that he can catch them in 4K and like get their true like demonic forms broadcast to the whole world or something.
You know, my thing with that is like, don't get me wrong, like that would have an effect, but it's like if the world was told right now, because this is what it would look like to them, that the Gorosei have zone forms, that's like that's what they would probably think, right? Because like they've seen that, everyone knows what devil fruits are at this point. Like they wouldn't necessarily know they're like demonic. Like we don't even really know that. Like I think it's very likely, but like the crew hasn't learned that, I guess is what I'm saying. And so it's like, would the world pick up on that if they saw them? Like wouldn't the world just be like, oh, those are the elders in their zone forms? Like not that they know that they have them. It's just like, would that be that shocking, I guess is what I'm saying. Like it, you know, to me it doesn't really, it might be weird that they're not in Marijwa, like, oh, they can actually fight, like that might be weird, but it's like the world wouldn't turn on the government because they saw that, I guess is what I'm getting at. Like they wouldn't be like, get you. Like, oh, they have zones, like now we're not going to listen to them anymore. Like that, I guess that doesn't really.
Another way of seeing it is like if you see like Saturn and the rest of these individuals like specifically like calling like humans insects and stuff like that, like maybe that has like a little bit more of an impact than just seeing like but yeah, like I don't know, I think that there's an interesting amount of like still wiggle room that Oda has within it. Like it could be that this isn't like the full reveal of something that we're thinking it could be, but I'm really hopeful that we do get like the name of the Ancient Kingdom, or like maybe even like I think it was you who brought it up, like the name of the one, or it might have been Tekking, I don't know. I've watched a lot of Tekking recently as well, but like what if this is actually where we actually as readers figure out what the name of this planet is?
Yeah, or like what it used to be called, right? Which I mean, that might be the Ancient Kingdom name.
Yeah, you know? And that's like really it might be the crazy. Same thing. Like there's so much we could still figure out, like the amount of mysteries that still like are left open, you know?
Yeah, like I'm pretty big on the Ancient Kingdom name because I mean I've already been saying it, but I just think that's like like there's a reason why they stopped Clover, and like we have all the O'Hara connections. It's just like if it's not that, I would almost need Oda to like explain it. Like maybe Oda or maybe Vegapunk would say like some things that get revealed, but then they still stop it right before he says the name, maybe, and like so like something like that happens, and maybe like the world is like, huh, like why would they do that? Like I don't know. Like there's a lot that could happen there, but I just think the name being revealed, like that's Clover needs to get, you know, like his message out there. Like that would like Robin lived, like the will of O'Hara living on. To me, that's just like not that Oda would be messing up if he didn't do it, but you would at least have to touch on it. Like I said, like if Vegapunk gets cut off again right before he says the name, then that might work because at least it was like touched on, like they wanted to say it. But I just feel like it's time for that to get revealed. And you know, I think it's also interesting, like how Vegapunk's like taking the 10 minutes to set it up, because then you also have to think about why do they need to see something? Like what is he showing people that's so important to show that he is breaking out the cameras? Like he's waiting 10 minutes for the cameras to be shown, right? Like if he was just gonna say it, people would already know. Like Luffy wouldn't even have to hold these Gorosei off anymore. So it has to be something extremely important that he's showing, and that's like where, you know, the idea that like, oh, he's going to show the Gorosei, like where that fits in. But I almost think like I said, like that wouldn't be as shocking as like 9 out of 10 other ideas. I feel like if he showed a picture of Emu on the throne or something, that would be enough, right?
That's
that
crazy.
Would be insane.
Yeah.
Like that would be more, because like the Gorosei using zones, like they know the Gorosei exist, they know the Gorosei are at the top. Doesn't make it that, like you said, the humans being like insects, that is definitely something that would matter. But it's like the world's not going to stop listening to the Gorosei because they have zones. Like they might even just assume it, like, well, they're the leaders for a reason, you know, like whatever. But they don't know Emu exists, so like a picture of Emu or an image of the ancient kingdom, if he somehow had a literal picture of it, you know, or maybe he just has like a full-on PowerPoint where it's him and he's just like giving bits of evidence that he found, like, hey, these are poneglyphs, they have special text, I was able to read these, this is what it says, this is why like that might be kind of cool too. But yeah, whatever he's showing, I feel like that's really the mystery, because it's that important, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think this next chapter could change a lot of people's agendas. And I remember like Tainted Marth just put out a really, really great like 1.5 hour long video, and another friend, Star Knight Andy Lex, is putting out a video very soon on like theories, and any of these theories that are involving like what the Will of D is, or what the Ancient Kingdom is, or the name there, or like all of the like what Buccaneers could be tied to, and like all of these like the things that we all have been wondering for like over 1,000 chapters. And you know, all of these, like it's all of these theories, this is the point where some of them could be made or broken, you know. And so I think this is a really interesting time to be week to week with the manga. I can't wait. Like honestly, I'm super excited. I don't even know where I want to put my hopes at the most, but I mean, I think that it's very reasonable that we could figure out the name of the Ancient Kingdom, the name of the planet that we're on, and I don't know, like maybe even potentially the origin of devil fruits, like we thought we were going to get earlier into like the arc, like within this next couple of chapters. I think he's going to draw it out a little bit more, because of the 10-minute timer. And I know that kind of irked a little bit of some people in the community. I kind of like it, like honestly, like,
oh, same. I mean,
the suspense, you know. like
I think for me, you know, a lot of people have brought up like, oh, like Oda keeps using it, like Oda just reuses the same thing, and like I'm not denying that that's true, because that is like obviously objective fact, but it's like time limits are dope. You know, like I mean, that is a guaranteed way to build suspense, and like yeah, Oda does it a lot, and like, you know, it kind of sucks in this instance because like we're getting blue balled, right? Like we were expecting it last. I think that's the reason why it hurts more than any other time. But I think on like reread or in the anime especially, like you won't even feel it. Like it's just like a couple episodes extension, which like in my opinion, you kind of need it, because like now we have the Gorosei pulling up. Like like the timer is what makes this hype stuff possible. Because people have brought this up too. You know, it's like a defensive timer. Usually it's we need to do something by the 10 minutes. This time it's stopping someone from doing something before the 10 minutes. And by doing that, it forced the Gorosei to appear. So like for me, you know, I definitely get that Oda's redone it. Like there's no denying it, but it's just like the way he's doing it, as he usually does, is fire, you know? And so I'm like super looking forward to it. I think one thing is that like this next chapter, in my opinion, is going to be all fighting and like power reveals for the Gorosei, like 11:10. Like it like we'll probably get like a couple updates on the countdown of like, okay, we're at 8 minutes or 7 minutes or something. But I think the next chapter is going to be 100% focused on like show the Gorosei's form, show like, because they probably have some unique powers. Like it's probably not like they probably all have like regeneration. I bet they obviously can all do the telepathy thing. They all use the circles, but I'm betting like, what's that?
It's so funny. I was watching King Recon's reaction, and he's absolute hype, and I love being in his reactions whenever I can. Because sometimes the timing doesn't line up, but he starts referring to Emu as instant messenger Sama, and I love that so much, dude.
Oh, dude, there's even a guy who made a YouTube account or changed his YouTube name, I'm not sure, to instant messenger Sama, and he super chats in his streams as instant messenger Sama and says stuff. That guy is goated for doing that.
That's hilarious.
That's one of the funniest things to me. Like, yeah, King Recon has all the legendary like sayings. I don't even know what to call it.
I'm super hype, but yeah, like, and somebody in his chat super chatted. I think it was like talking about Flattern and Pizza Roo. Which
oh my god, that's funny. Yep. Flattern, is that what he called him? That's
Flattern
funny.
is the best thing I've heard. Like, it's so funny, dude. It is.
One of my favorite King Reconisms is in chapter 1085, whenever we saw Emu fighting Sabo, he called Emu's attack the thumbnail arrow. Because like it's like a devil's tail, but he kept calling it that, and I literally I call it that now because it's just that's like so funny. Because like everyone knows it looks like a devil's tail. Like I think everyone has already made that connection. So then when you start saying YouTube thumbnail arrow, they have to like think about it. Like what is he talking about? Like
that's hilarious.
My god, that thing.
I also thought it was funny. Shit, what was it? Oh my god, I just lost my train of thought. What were we talking about right before the YouTube thumbnail thing? Oh, okay. So it was in his most recent chapter reaction. He looked at the title because he always does a poll at the very beginning, like, should I read the title? And 94% of the people voted, yeah, read the title. And he's like, oh, cool. This title must be like something crazy good or something like it, or it's something that's going to make sense later. And the officials titled it Interception, which I think the scans titled it Termination, which was like or something like that. So like, but he read the official because he reacted on Sunday instead of earlier. And so he read Interception, and I'm not a sports fan, but he immediately was like, oh man, so they're making fun of me for being a supporter of this team because there was like a crazy interception or something.
Oh, that's so funny.
I was laughing.
He's a fan of the Eagles. Yeah.
I was laughing so hard when he said that. He's just like, okay, so that's happening. Like, I can't wait to get him. Like being on stream with him when I was so fun. Me and Tree the Wolf were on with him, and Cube was there, and a few other individuals, and it was just like, I remember after everybody had to kind of dip, Lucas and Cube had to dip, and it was me and Tree and King Recon, and we were talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and remake like theories and like experiences and stuff for like 2 hours, like a 4-hour stream, dude. I absolutely love Coach's vibe, so I can't wait for next break week when I can get him on here.
One of the literal goats, and I mean that in every way, shape, or form. I mean, just entertaining content, good human being, multifaceted human. You know, like he's in all sorts of different stuff, video game, sports. You know what I'm saying? He's just like such a positive dude. I can't say enough nice things about him. Always been I mean, King Recon was my first Davey Dak fight guest. You know what I mean? I mean that shows you right there. Like I'm a huge fan. It's a great human.
Hype. Yeah, that is so like for real. If you guys are also hyped for that, make sure you have liked the stream and subscribed, because that is going to be coming hopefully next break week. I'm going to be getting Coach on here. Love the vibes tonight, and you built a fantastic character. But I'm going to go ahead and we'll wrap it up. I've got a few things, just a little bit of housekeeping to reiterate for those of you who weren't here at the very beginning, and then Dak, I'll let you kind of spit as well. But real quick, I just want to make sure, check out all the links in the description. Check out the Scarlet Pirates playlist. Catch up on that. We'll be having SBS soon, because we just wrapped up an arc, and we try to time our SBSs around the same time that Oda drops them. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. We hope to see all of you guys there, and I want a lot more individuals seem like they got into One Piece D&D recently. So if you're hankering, I've got like over 50 hours worth of content on this channel where you can go and binge that, put it on in the background. Really interesting. Starts off pretty scuffed, because you know it's my shit and my stuff, so it's gonna be a little scuffed, but I'm getting better at it. I've done a lot of upgrading, getting my setup ready and stuff like that since the first couple of episodes, and so the sound quality's improved a lot. I make all my own maps and stuff like that. If you want to check out Incarnate, that's where I make all my maps. Link in the description. You can set up a Roll20 account and start making your own One Piece characters using some of the stuff that I have linked in the description as well. Ton of fun. Join the TLA Discord, grab the D&D nerd roll if you wanted to be a part of all of that. It's a lovely little community that we've got going on. We again looking to get King Recon on soon, so that stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit the notification bell if you want to get the most up-to-date stuff on the YouTube channel. If you're in Discord, join my brand new Discord, vexyz Lurking Legends. Make sure you join Dak's Discord as well, and the TLA Discord. And let me know what you're thinking about my new Discord. It's brand new, put a lot of work into it, and that's where I'm going to be trying to also build another, just more awareness about One Piece D&D and One Piece in general and D&D in general. If you want to talk about like Magic the Gathering or One Piece TCG as well, there's spots for that. And if you want to post your food pics or selfies or stuff like that, it's just a lovely little community I'm trying to start up over there. And I would really appreciate you guys coming on and saying what's up. That's going to be pretty much it for me. Make sure you check out all of the wonderful links in the description, and Dak, let these individuals know what you've got going on and where they can find you.
Yeah, well, first thing I want to say is, Vex, thank you so much for making me the first guest on here. I'm seriously honored. I'm also honored to be your first subscriber.
Let's go.
Everyone, unfortunately you can't be the first subscriber because that's me, but you guys could subscribe now and be the most recent one for at least some amount of time. So everyone, please go subscribe to Vex. If you've been to my streams, you probably know Vex. I mean, if you're here, you already obviously know Vex, but man, like if you were even in my streams, you would know Vex because he's just always in there, whether he's the linking legend or donating or just being a goat in general. Seriously, he's going to be trouble in a good way, and the algorithm, we're going to have to be fighting for our spot once Vex gets started. So you all need to subscribe. And I also want to say, Kev DOG, that is, I see you used the word denizen. You said Philly denizen. I'm a big, as Vex would know, I like vocabulary. So major shout out to Kev for using a great word there, denizen. As Vex knows, serendipitously is my all-time favorite word. I'm still working on the rest of the list, but that's number one. So
I know you said you said hijinks is crawling up the list. We were talking about that the other day. Yeah.
like shenanigans is also really good. Oh, here's another one. Preposterous. Well,
there we go.
Oh man, in high school, and physics class, my physics teacher, man, we use that all the time. But yeah, other than that, like I said, sub to Vex, most important thing. As for myself, though, you guys know where to find me. Definitely join the Discord. And I would say, Vex has done a great job, probably even better than me, of promoting the Redacted channel, my second channel, which I do have a small announcement there. Vex, I mentioned this a little bit to you. Like, I messaged you, and I never really responded because I fell asleep. But and then I had to get on here. But
that happens.
So what I'm gonna start doing with Redacted, well, I'm dropping a couple videos anyway. So for instance, I'm doing a video on the 6 Devil Fruits of God Valley, which will be on Redacted. I'm gonna do an Afro related video, which will be on Redacted. But what I'm also gonna start doing is I want to do discussion videos, which you guys may be seeing on like Psy does them a lot, or Zonin does them a lot, or it's just you get another creator and you make we just talk for maybe an hour about a certain topic or set of topics. Maybe it's just the most recent chapter, who knows what it is. But all I'm going to say is basically in the Dak Sake videos, what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to end the video with a way to attach it to a redacted video. So like every single Dak Sake video, I'm going to start like uploading something on redacted that goes with it to like continue the discussion of the video, or maybe it'll be a different topic. Maybe I'll randomize the topics. Like you have to go to the redacted video to see what the topic is. So long story short, you should definitely go subscribe to redacted because it's going to start getting populated and you're going to start hearing it mentioned from the main channel a lot more.
Yeah, I'm hyped. I'm absolutely hyped for that. I know you were talking about getting some other like anime manga content on there. Like I know you're a huge fan of JJK. You're going to be starting to do any JJK series over there as well.
Yeah, I mean JJK is a tough one because like with One Piece I always have an idea, and like JJK sometimes I feel like I'm regurgitating, and I don't, not that I do that, like that's like part of the reason why I stopped doing it, is because like I do have some theories and thoughts and stuff, but like not enough to make full videos. So I am going to get back into it, I guess is what I'm saying. Like in an ideal world, Redacted would get a little bit busier, and then I could like stream my chapter reactions for JJK, and that would just be enough because that's like pretty easy.
Hype. Yeah, that's super hype.
But I do want to do other types of manga on there. Like Berserk is the next full manga that I'm reading, and I'm definitely going to do at least one video on that once I finish reading it. And watching it, I'll probably do like, because I know the anime is like split up, like there's movies. I know it's confusing, so I'll probably do a little bit of both there. But
maybe we can get some RuneScape streams too.
Yeah, definitely. But I will say the thing that I'm looking forward to the most out of all these things, though, is once I read Berserk, and you know Redacted is in an okay place, which is in a decent place now to be honest, but once I get to a decent place, I am going to also start reading Kingdom on stream on Redacted, because that's a series I've been dying to read, and I know it's like long, that's why I'm going to do, it's not over, right? So I'm going to do Berserk first. So I'm excited. I don't know if I'm going to read Berserk on stream. Maybe like once I get towards the end I will, or something, so you can see the final chapters. I'm not really sure, but yeah, and then and Dill, like you said it, Vex, and Dill also just mentioned, like I do want to start doing some RuneScape or just gaming streams in general. I actually was working on my OBS earlier today because I usually use Streamlabs, and kind of a long story, but it's like if I could use OBS, it makes it a lot easier to do like random streams, because like my YouTube is connected to the Streamlabs, and it makes it really hard to do like anything outside of that. Yeah, so I'm trying to get my OBS figured out so I can do that for other types of streams. So
hey, let me know.
So yeah, we got a lot planned.
I know I have some scuff stuff going on this stream, but I believe it or not, guys, I know a pretty good amount about OBS. So like, let me know if you need anything on that. But it's pretty similar to Streamlabs.
The main thing for me is the multi-streaming. Like I know I have to use Restream and set all that stuff up, and that's where Streamlabs makes it really easy. That's why like I use them, is the multi-streaming is so easy. It's just all in one, where like I have to set up the Restream thing, which like isn't hard. It's a barrier. So
yeah, it's like extra steps. Yeah, I get you. Well, it's been a whole lot of fun, and yeah, make sure, like I said before, check out the links in the description. You can catch the link to Redacted and Dak's Discord, as well as many other wonderful links in the description. I worked really hard on it, and want to make sure that I'm gonna keep improving. This is a new kind of like format for me, trying to get like this kind of situation. So the next one should be even better. If you guys enjoyed this one, thank you so much for sticking around. You guys in chat are all so goated, and I love you so much. And like for real, wouldn't be able to do it without the people who inspired me, like in the to get into the community and to be a content creator, and as well as the people here in the chat who show up and support. So it means a whole lot. Make sure you like the stream and go show some love for Dak, a wonderful creator. This has been surreal, and I've had such a fun time, but we're gonna go ahead and close it out, guys. It has been such a wonderful time. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's night.